Hmm. Come on, TikTok. Come on. TikTok's acting up. We'll start in just a moment. Because our guests are only going to come from TikTok today. Come on. I believe in you. You can do it. You can do it. Come on. I believe. There we go. There we go. Gotta click the go live. Yeah, just gotta have faith, right? That's exactly it. My computer's just behaving very slowly right now. I don't really know why. I'm not maxing out RAM. Well, we'll give it a minute. We might have to restart TikTok. I think that we might be okay. Just gotta put this so that it's roughly where the first guest will be. Great. All right, we should be all set. Oh, let me make sure that TikTok connects to my chat bot, or my chat bot connects to TikTok anyway. New topic? No, not a new topic. I've done this topic a lot. Howdy, howdy, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day. We actually, if you didn't know this, we just got a new Discord link. So now it's discord.gg/Dr. Blitz. That's how you join the Discord server. So you should consider joining if you're not already there. Oh, I don't need my color popped. Anyway, let let people stream in, get our stuff ready, get our book ready. Good book. I'm gonna start recommending this one as well as the Brief History of Time. Why? Who uses Discord these days? Lots of people use Discord these days. Like, so many people. You just got Something Deeply Hidden. Something Deeply Hidden is really good. Would recommend. I actually have a meeting with one of the authors of this book next week, 2 weeks from now, to talk about some research stuff. Hey Blitz, how you doing? I'm doing A-okay, thanks for asking. Yeah, so let's let some people stream in, we'll get some conversations going. I still don't think that I can take YouTube guests. I haven't spent time to actually fix my YouTube thing, and I need to do that, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So until then, we're only taking TikTok guests, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it'll have to do. Howdy, howdy. Hello, everybody. How's the kitty? She was kind of a nightmare, or a menace this morning. But, you know, she's okay. Oh, I should unplug this. There we go. Mute this person. They're muted. Yeah, I don't know why TikTok's being so slow right now. How old is Kitty? Kitty is a little bit over 3 years old. 3 years, a month or two. Can you comment about the OU signs for V religion scandal? It's ridiculous. I guess I can't. I was trying to sneeze, but I didn't sneeze. So, how easy do you think I'd be able to get a job with NWA or NOAA after the budget cuts? Oh, I don't know. I don't know how easy it is to get those jobs. Anyway, if you know somebody who disagrees with this, feel free to share it with them, and we can have a conversation. But we'll just let people stream in really quick. We did just start just a few minutes ago. It'll just give it some time. Will is crashing? I don't know what that means. I don't know what Will is crashing means. Sean Carroll book tier list. Space-time and geometry is at the top, and then the rest is at B tier. I mean, that's just an easy answer. When's the Darth Dawkins debate? I've debated him a few times. I don't think we have another one scheduled anytime soon. Is there another guy that does this other than Dr. Blitz and Ian? Yeah, Justin does. Justin is our third horseman. Thank you guys. Still trying to let people, not one church or the Bible says anything about this. Want to bet? Want to put money on that? Are you familiar with Kent Hovind, perhaps, and his ministry? Are you familiar with Al Mohler, who is the president of the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary? Are you familiar with, I don't know, Pete Briscoe? Are you familiar with Pat Robertson? Like, Pat Robertson is one of the biggest televangelists to, like, ever exist. He died, but, you know. All right, we have our first guest. Let's talk to Robin. Robin, how's it going?
Hello. I rather have a question than I don't want to debate you. I agree with all your points. So
okay, then I gotta let you go. Please respect the live. It doesn't matter if I don't have any guests right now. Guests will come, and if there are open guest boxes, then people are more likely to join if they disagree. In fact, there are a few people in the guest box who currently think that the Earth is 6,000 years old. So, or not in the guest box, sorry, in the guest chat. So if you want to come up and you think the Earth is 6,000 years old, or 7,000 years old, or 10,000 years old, feel free to come up and do that. We can talk about it. Until then, we're going to keep the guest box open. Do you support Eagle Scouts? I don't know anything about them. Talk to the goddamn Juggernaut.
Hey, what's
Juggernaut, how's it going?
Well, evidently I just got cooked in a Christian live about supporting child marriage. They were attacking Muslims, and I asked them about Deuteronomy 22:29.
Sorry,
and,
do you think that the Earth is young?
About 13.8 billion years. Well, no, that's the universe. Sorry, not the Earth. The Earth, what, 4.2 billion years?
Then I gotta let you go. Let's talk to Cannibal. Remember, join if you disagree.
Nigger, child, poor nigger, child.
Okay. 6,000 galactic years. Is it? So a galactic year is 225 to 250 million Earth years. So if we multiply that by 6,000, then yeah, that's actually pretty close. Wait a minute. No, that's not pretty close at all. That's like 13 trillion years for the age of the Earth, or the age of the universe. Close though.
What's going on, man?
Ivesk. What should I call you? Is Ivesk correct?
Oh, I think you've frozen.
Oh, I haven't frozen on my end. Ah, welcome.
Oh, yeah. Now you're good. Now you're good.
What should I call you? Is Ivesk correct?
Yeah.
Great. Ivesk, how old do you think the Earth is?
I think it's about child porn years old. You know, toddler porn. You know, rape.
Dawa, how's it going?
Salam alaikum, brother. Salam alaikum.
One more time?
Salam alaikum, brother. Salam alaikum.
Howdy. So, Dawa, how old do you think the Earth is?
I would have to say, brother, less than 20,000.
Okay, and why so?
Well, brother, it's science, brother.
Care to elaborate?
Yes, of course. You wouldn't have any type of degree in science or anything like that, right? Physics and that.
Suppose I don't. What's the science? Explain it to me.
You don't have no degrees, right?
Oh, no, suppose I don't.
You don't. Oh, okay. I was thinking that. So yeah, of course, bro. So if we look at the science, right? What's something?
You have to
in
speak
this
up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. If we look at the science, what is the first thing we must assume before we can even do science?
I don't know. You tell me.
It's called uniformitarianism.
Okay.
Do you know what uniformitarianism is?
No, I don't know what that word means. Explain it.
Okay, perfect. Uniformitarianism is a presupposition that to do any form of science you must do. So what is uniformitarianism?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, I'm about to say it. Brother, calm down. So it's the presupposition that the past, right, that the future is gonna work like the past.
Okay.
Right, and that these things will be sustained. That's the presupposition uniformitarianism takes, and that's
Okay.
the presupposition. Yeah, that's the presupposition you must assume before you can do any type of science at all. Am I wrong?
You tell me. You're the one who knows about science.
No, I'm not wrong. You
Okay, cool.
Okay, perfect.
What does this have to do with the age of the Earth?
Okay, perfect, brother, perfect. That's the first presupposition. Next, any dating method, brother. All dating methods require a presupposition, brother. All dating methods.
Okay.
So, okay, perfect. Now you have two unjustified presuppositions. So now, why, if they're unjustified, how can you conclude anything?
Why are they unjustified?
Yes, of course, brother, of course. I'll tell you. So since all dating methods require presuppositions, there's something we don't know about it, right? Because all dating methods, you can search this up. There's always going to be something you don't know about it that can affect.
Like what?
Okay. When you go in like with different presuppositions, you get different answers.
Like what dating methods? What dating methods have what presuppositions?
Carbon, radioactive, every dating method there is.
Can you give me a specific example?
Every dating method.
Can you give me a specific example? Just so we can talk about it?
Like
so
uranium.
You can teach me? Yeah, like what about uranium?
It requires a presupposition. You can search this up on Google. You can search this up on Google.
Right, but I want you to tell me.
Yeah, okay, perfect. To try to date, so you have to go in the presupposition about the form of isotopes, how many isotopes are lost.
I don't know what an isotope is. Can you explain?
Oh my gosh, bro. Are you serious?
I mean, look, I don't have any degrees in science.
Do you?
No, I told you. Suppose I don't.
Brother, come on, brother.
What's an isotope?
Are you really gonna ask slow?
What? Can you explain?
Wait, hold on. Let me check your page, brother. Oh, you're a PhD?
Oh no, you got me. Oh
You're a
no,
PhD, brother?
you got me.
In mathematical. Okay, brother. Well,
Sound it out.
okay. What?
Okay, so what's the claim here? You're making the claim that all of these dating methods, like uranium dating,
every
uranium
single
lead
one of
dating.
them. Every single
tell
one
me,
of them.
what is the presupposition
Every
involved in
single one of
uranium
them.
lead? Right. So tell me, what is
Every
the
single one of
presupposition?
them.
What is the
Every single one
presupposition?
of them.
You can keep saying that. What is the presupposition that is involved in uranium lead dating?
You want me to get you all the exact ones?
I want you to tell me at least one.
Okay, yeah. I'll get you the list. I got you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he didn't know them.
I gave you one, but there's an entire list.
What was the one that you gave me? I just want one, and we can talk about it.
You're lost.
Sorry? But I can't hear you when you're off the app. Bro's typing it into ChatGPT 100%. Yeah, he said something about isotopes, but he didn't say, like, what the presupposition was. Maybe he's grokking it. Grok, what is a presupposition? Grok, what's an isotope? Dawa, I can't hear you when you're off the app, and I know when you're off the app. Dawa.
Yes, brother. I'm writing the list down for you, brother.
Just tell me one. Bro GPT.
I got you. Okay, so I said isotopes. Oh, and that the radioactive
Wait, you said
decay
isotopes.
is
What
gonna
about
stay over
isotopes?
time. That's
What's the
another one.
presupposition involved with isotopes?
We don't know how many isotopes.
We don't know how many
presuppose
isotopes?
how many.
What do you mean we don't? That's not involved in anything to do with uranium lead dating.
No. You listen here, buddy.
You listen here, buddy. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, look. I was about to tell you. So number one, we have to presuppose that the radioactive decay is going to stay over a constant time for uranium.
Yeah, sure.
238.
Okay. Is that justified or unjustified?
It's unjustified in the atheistic worldview.
Oh, how do you figure?
Yeah, because what is sustaining these things over time?
That's a question, not an answer.
Yeah, okay, amazing. The atheistic worldview, nothing is sustaining science over time.
Can you justify that claim?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Yes. For something to sustain something, does it have
That's a
to have
question, not an
intention?
answer.
Okay, for something to sustain something, it has to have intention, right? In the
Okay.
atheistic worldview, there is no ultimate intention.
Why should I believe that in order for something to be sustained, it must be sustained by something
if
with
something is
intention? Why
sustaining
should I believe that?
it must be through intention.
Why should I believe that?
If it's not through intention, it's through randomness. So you
Why
don't
should
have
I
a
believe that
justified-
something
hold on.
needs a sustainer?
Wait, hold on. Listen. If it's not
Why
through
not
intention, if
couldn't a
it-
thing
no,
just
please-
have existential inertia?
No. Listen. If it's not through intention that's sustaining it, that means it's through randomness, right?
Maybe
That
things
if it's-
don't need sustainers.
Yeah, okay. If it's not intentional, it's random. So if it's
I
random,
don't-
you have no.
Are you addressing
You have
the
no
question
justified
that I
reason
asked?
to wait. Hold on. If it's random,
Can you address the
you don't
question that I
have-
asked?
Hold on, bro. I haven't
Hold
even
on,
finished my point.
hold on, bro.
If it's
Can you address the question that I
random,
asked?
you don't have a justified belief.
Can you address the
reason to
question that I
believe
asked?
that gravity will work tomorrow.
I'm sorry.
So
Do
the same way it has to
you
work
think
today.
that answers the question I asked?
Yes.
Okay. Can you repeat back to me what the question is?
Yeah. The question was, in an atheist worldview, how could they not have science?
That wasn't my question.
Or was
My
it?
question was, why does something need a sustainer in order to remain the same?
My claim was I'm saying that. Look, you pulled a claim out of something I haven't even said yet.
Wait, no,
All I
you
said,
absolutely said that in order for something to be consistent across time, there needs to be a sustainer.
no. I said, look, I said if something is sustaining it, it must be through intention. If
Who's
it's not
making
through
the claim
intention,
that something is sustaining it?
okay, look. I'm giving you the either or.
What's the
Relax.
either or?
Okay, if something is not sustaining it with intention, that means it's random.
I don't think that things are being sustained. I think that
Okay,
you're a
if
little
they're
bit
not being
confused here.
sustained intentionally, then it's random.
I don't think that they're being sustained at all. Are you
Okay,
not
if
familiar
they're
with the
not
idea of existential inertia?
Explain it to me, brother. Explain it
The
to me.
idea of existential inertia is merely that things only change when something causes them to change.
Buddy, we can't traverse an infinite regression, but
Are you, like, confused? Did you just have a stroke? Because it sounds like when I completely dismantled your opposition to the idea that you can have uniformitarianism in a naturalistic worldview, you just completely pivoted to this idea of, oh, well, you can't have an infinite regress. Like, that wasn't even related to what we were talking about.
No, that was just like, go ahead. So what you're saying, right? Can you repeat your claim one more time?
Yeah, so it seems plausible that you can have existential inertia for things like the laws of physics, or for things like naturalistic objects matter. The existential inertia is the idea that things only change when something causes them to change.
Okay, perfect. So in your worldview, what is causing things to change?
Other things, like, for example, when I drop this, I probably can't talk about that on a live stream. When I drop this cube, the reason why its position changes is because I am changing it. Namely, there is the Earth's gravitational field, which is acting upon it, causing its position to change. My grasp on it is changing, causing its,
perfect. Yeah.
all of those kinds of things. And so, namely, we have good reason to think that.
Wait, hold on, Blitz.
I'm sorry, I was in the middle of a sentence. Namely, we have good reason to think that existential inertia is like a good principle by which we can describe the universe.
Okay, Blitz. How long? So you're saying that this thing happened because of this, and that thing happened because of this, and this happened.
I'm saying that things stay the same until something causes them to
change.
change.
Okay. So I'm just saying there's been a regression, right?
I'm not talking about regression. I'm talking about why we can rely on the laws of physics.
Okay, listen.
Did you understand that?
From a moment.
Do you understand what the claim being made is? What it's about?
Yes.
The claim is about why we can trust the laws of physics to remain uniform.
So you're saying you could trust natural order?
Yes, via existential inertia. Unless there's something external causing them to change, we have reason to think that they stay the same.
But Blitz, you can't. I think this is where it gets down to. You don't, in your worldview, Blitz. You don't have knowledge to even say.
You don't know what my worldview is.
Yes, I do.
Wait, is this free? Is this PhD free?
PhD free? Who's free?
Chat, you guys know his voice better than I do.
Who's PhD free?
Is this free? I think so. All right, free. You had your chance.
Who's free?
You're free content. See you on YouTube.
Oh.
It's just the same argument every time. He just changes his name. All right, let's bring up the next guest. Let's bring up Laurel. Laurel, how's it going?
Good afternoon. Pretty good, and yourself?
It's going all right. Laurel, how old do you think the Earth is?
Well, okay, so your topic is your church lied to you about science, and there's two things my church did say to me. They said that the Earth is about 7,000 years old, and that's a scientific claim. But and I can understand how that may be incorrect. I very well can understand how that may be incorrect. But my church also told me that matter cannot be created or destroyed. Now, I've heard people bring this up to you, and you had somewhat of a rebuttal, and it blows my mind. So please,
Laurel, just a quick question. How old do you think the Earth is?
Well, I can't lie to you. I'm a fan of science. I'm a fan of physics. I as far as the age of the Earth, I do believe it to be much older. But my church did tell me something else.
Right, but you figured out that they were not telling the truth.
True.
So
But
you're not really the kind of person that I'm looking to talk to.
wait, please, before you kick me. The second thing they told me was that matter cannot be created or destroyed. And
Yeah,
I've heard
so there's just a common counterexample. If you own a banana, which most people do own bananas, or they can own bananas by going to the grocery store, bananas give off positrons. They have potassium in them, and one of the ways that potassium can radioactively decay is by giving off a positron. And when that positron is emitted by the banana, it goes and it finds an electron. The positron is a type of matter, the electron is a type of matter, and then they annihilate with each other, and they both cease to exist.
Now, but I've heard you say that in that process, they release light.
Yeah, light isn't matter.
Oh, well, so matter can be destroyed?
Yeah, and created, for that matter.
Before I go, can you that's the example of how it can be destroyed. How can matter be created?
Yeah, so when you have a neutron, you can start with, if you just have a neutron just flying around, it's a type of matter. It can decay, and it can become 3 matter particles. So you had 1 matter particle, now you have 3.
Wow. Wow. All right. Well, thank you very much, Blitz. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
You're welcome. Take care. All right, let's talk to Shane. Do you guys think I should bring up Deathless Light? Because he's kind of begging in the comments to come up. Shane, how's it going?
How's it going, brother? How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How old do you think the Earth is?
It's I actually I have a question for you. I try
How
to
old do you
stick
think
with
the Earth is?
probably scientifically. You're right about the church. The church does state it is roughly 6,000 to 7,000 years old.
And how old do you think it is?
I actually kind of struggle with it. It was actually what I wanted to ask you about in kind of your rebuttal against the whole C14, carbon 14, and just kind of like soft tissue decay over time. Because like one of the reasons they give is simply, oh, well, soft tissue doesn't last 65 million years, and it's
right,
not
and it sometimes does.
And
under very, very special conditions, it does.
In which that would be the case, or why you see things like coal, diamonds, things like that. That's all carbon 14.
Well, it's not carbon 14. It's mostly carbon 12. But I mean, that's neither here
you
nor
would
there.
definitely know better than I would, for sure.
But the point is that you're right. Most of the time, soft tissue isn't preserved, but there are some chemical reactions that can preserve soft tissue, and that happens occasionally.
I'll have to definitely take your word for it. I don't have enough education
Here's a paper.
to say otherwise.
Here's a paper. You can take a screenshot.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I think that it's probably freely available, so you can probably read it yourself if you want to. At least, yeah, this is open access. So, all right, but thank you for being here, Shane. All right, so, Kung Pao Chicken wanted to come up. Let's talk to Kung Pao Chicken.
Hello?
Kung Pao Chicken, I finally remembered this time. So, Kung Pao Chicken, how old do you think the Earth is?
Well, that's a great question, actually. And I would counter it with this. I don't have a PhD like you do, so
that's
it'll
okay.
be interesting in that debate. Okay, great. Yeah, so I question the ability for science to actually prove it's beyond 6,000. Well, maybe not beyond 6,000, but to argue too much of the Bible, because that's your angle, right? This is all about
my angle is merely that, like, look, there are people who believe in the Bible and also think that the Earth is quite old. There are also people who believe in the Bible who think that it's quite young. My point is that if you think that the Earth is quite young, you're incorrect. The evidence is contrary to that.
Based off of what part of physics does it? What do you study actually? What's your specialty? I
do relativity and stuff. I do relativity mostly.
Okay.
But I mean, the point is it's not just a single part of physics that does it. It's like so many different branches of science that all lead to the conclusion that the Earth is older than, 10,000, 20,000 years old. Now, the way that we actually determine the actual age, they're roughly 4.5 billion years old, that comes from radiometric dating. Because other mechanisms, they basically just tell us that the Earth is at least as old as XYZ. And so we can use things like, what's it called? ice core data. So you basically drill a core of ice into like Antarctica or Greenland, and you can see seasonal changes. And so you can count those. And I think that there is at least one example of a paper that I've seen that does this, has 104,000 layers. And so you can see that there's 104,000 years at least. And then there's tree ring data that we can use to get like 13,000 years back of concurrent tree ring data, which is more than 6,000 years old. We can go do various kinds of radiometric dating, like we can do radiocarbon dating, which can get us to like the age of like plants that are like 50,000 years old, or pieces of plant matter rather, or we can do other types of radiometric dating that gets us to the age of a rock being 1 billion years old. We can also do cosmogenic radionuclide dating, which gets us to figure out how long a piece of rock has been exposed to the atmosphere. So there's just like 100 different ways that we can figure out that that the Earth is older than 10,000 years old. So it's not limited to one branch of science.
And I suppose that reinforces your belief and tons of scientists as well. I understand of it being beyond, and that's an array of things. By the way, that's quite an array. When it goes to this is not the real angle I wanted to come in on with you to talk about, but I just wanted to hit a little bit, right? And it will hit the point that you do have, for the layman, all those things are pretty difficult to understand together, right? And for a guy like you, right. So when it comes to science, right, I think it's pretty well known that there is limitations to what we know, like how much we know, and we're always breaking barriers, right? You as a PhD yourself are in research, I suppose, correct?
Yeah, sure. There's a lot. We're always learning new things. Absolutely.
Right. And when you have so many, the collective data that you explained a second ago, I suppose right there, I couldn't disprove it, but I would say that when speaking in the church matters, right, things are spoken more metaphorical. So would you want me to come in on a church side and just debate it, or would you want me to come on a science side?
I would, whatever reason you have for believing that the Earth is 6,000 years old, I'd like people or I don't know, I don't know if you specifically do, but it just seems if somebody does believe that, they are explicitly going against the entire scientific consensus. It just seems like science denial, right?
It does. It does, because coming from a church background, it almost does kind of, it's kind of hard to debate that. Whereas it's easier for you to debate on the science angle, especially with laymen, right?
Well, I mean, yeah. So then, what is the purpose? On what grounds do people have for believing that the Earth is so young when we have all of this extraordinary evidence that says otherwise?
Well, devil's advocate, pun intended. I would suppose the angle is
no, don't do that. I don't like devil's advocates. I like to talk about what people actually believe.
Got it. Fair enough. So, well, you know what? I'm going to step out of this one, Dr. Blitz. I just wanted to come in and, just have a little chat with you. I'm going to come back in with one that I'm more interested in talking about, which is I think you had one saying ask the physicists.
Yeah,
right?
I do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I should have another one on Tuesday. Although I think I'm leaving town on Wednesday, but there should be one on Tuesday.
I'm going to pop in on that one, and you remember my little quote I did with Einstein, right?
Yes.
Before that last one.
I think it's kind of misguided, to be honest. But
how about this one though? Do you think it's kind of just? I wasn't using it to prove anything, but it is just maybe one's POV interpretation, right? Could be that it, for me, how I see it is that makes it more fun. The religion makes it more fun with science, right? The debates.
Maybe. I just don't think it's true that you need religion in order to do science effectively.
Oh, absolutely. I don't do that either. Yeah, exactly. Well, anyways, Doctor, I'll let you go on, and it was nice to touch base.
Likewise. Take care. All right, let's bring up Deathless Light. See how old he thinks the Earth is. Deathless Light, how old do you think the Earth is?
I think the universe is now years old with a spontaneous appearance of age of about 4 billion years old.
So you think it's now years old?
I think that the observer collapse of the wave function retrocausatively travels backwards through time by virtue of quantum erasure experiments and rewrites the timeline back behind itself, consistent with itself.
That's great. I just like when I ask how old something is, usually I'm asking for a number of years or perhaps a number of seconds, just some number, and then a unit of time.
Well, sure. The universe has no age because space-time doesn't exist.
Okay, so the universe has no age. Okay, so do you know what I mean when I say that I'm 32 years old?
Yes, I know what that means a priori
Okay,
logically,
what does it
but
mean?
that's not an empirical claim.
What does it mean?
It means that there's a unit of time which is correspondent with the Gregorian calendar, which approximates 365 times 32.
Sure, and that would be, wait, times 32?
You said you're 32 years of age.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was, yeah. So when I say I'm 32, what that means is that, roughly speaking, the number of times the Earth has circled the sun since I was born was around 32 times. Right? That's what that means.
That's the claim that I contend. I say that's never happened.
So you think that the Earth has not gone around the sun 32 times?
I think that what happens is that there's a phenomenological interface called consciousness, which manifests itself spontaneously with the seamless appearance of age. That when you observe, you make psychological projections onto your phenomenological interface, and you misinterpret it as a physical universe extant from yourself.
So you're telling me. So Deathless, it sounds like you're telling me that you actually don't think the Earth is 6,000 years old.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Oh, great. So you know how it says Earth isn't 6,000 years old? Join if you disagree. So you don't disagree with the statement the Earth isn't 6,000 years old.
How about this? Just debate me. Stop being a coward and debate me. Because I know you want to get out of
look,
this.
it seems like you don't want to talk about the topic. It seems like you agree the Earth is not 6,000 years old.
Here's what I'm going to do. I want to debate you. I want to go hard.
I know you do. I know you want me to go hard on you, Deathless Light. I know that you want my rock hard syllogisms shoved right into your brain, Deathless Light. But we already agree the Earth isn't 6,000 years old. So, Deathless, I'm afraid I gotta drop you. It's short. It's short enough that it could go on a YouTube short. That's hilarious. Yeah, Deathless Light is a longtime troll. Oh, I probably have some super chats I need to read. I'll get to them after this guest. Doctor, how's it going?
How's it going, man? I am not actually a doctor yet, but what's up?
You're not a doctor yet? Well, then you're just doing Stolen Valor. I'm going to call you Orange Juice if that's okay.
That's okay.
Orange Juice, how old do you think the Earth is?
So, yeah, I don't disagree with you. I just want to, really ask you, why you want to do this.
Because I think that people teaching that the Earth is 6,000 years old is really cringe and bad.
Can I get into?
But also, I'm not interested in talking to Tone Police. So we have Cushy with the 2 British pounds, grok, and ball torture. You guys are so funny. No, actually, and then we have just under 3 Canuck bucks from Solar Lion. Caller, Mr. Sir, you are not him. Yeah. All right, let's talk to Jason. Jason? All right, Jason's not connecting. Somebody asks, do you believe there's funding bias in science? If so, why should I trust it? I mean, to a certain extent, look, it probably depends on the science. I mean, maybe if you get into some of the more politically sensitive branches of science, then sure. But if you're talking about physics, not really. The people who are determining the grants are just physicists who are either think that the research is good research, or it's a good project, or it's not a good project. And I don't know, that doesn't seem really biased to me. The contrary, though, is whether there's funding bias in churches, and of course there is. The only people who donate to churches are, churchgoers. RR, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How old do you think the Earth is, RR?
Well, to that question, I'm going to say I'm not too sure, but I'm also want to respond with, why does that matter?
Because I think that teaching people false things is bad.
I understand that, and I agree with that, but where does the church say the Earth is 6,000
Are you
years.
familiar with Kent Hovind? Are you familiar with Pat Robertson? Are you familiar with Dr. Dino? Who I think, are you familiar with, all sorts of enormous televangelists and evangelist pastors who teach this? Because it is a real thing.
Okay, I'm not actually familiar with those people, but
yeah, Pat Robertson is like one of the most famous televangelists of all time. And, this is something that he claimed over and over again in front of his megachurch. So,
well,
let you go, Cahody Bodie.
Hello.
Cahody, how's it going?
I think you're a fucking faggot. Kill yourself.
Oh, that's not very nice. How rude. By the way, we got a $10 Cash App dono from Shay for add a little bit of spice. Thank you, Shay. As always. All right, let's bring up our next guest. Oh, they just left the chat. Or they just left the guest box. Sorry, let me just double check something. Yeah, they will. You will know them by their fruits. That's what they say, right? We have 25 RON. I don't know what 25 RON is, but that is 25 Romanian leu. Thank you, Night Owl, for the 25 Romanian leu. In the Bible, God says that one moment can be 1,000 years for us. So can you understand where the 7 days of creation can be into millions of years? Well, look, if it says God says one day can be 1,000 years. And so if that's the case, then that would mean that it took 6,000 years to make the earth and the universe. And then another 6,000 years for how long for how long it's been since Adam and Eve existed. And you get to about 12,000 years. It's not very long though. It's not long enough. From Bull the Bull, thank you for the $5. Jesus moonwalked on water. Come on, people. This man is speaking the hard truth. I'm so joyful for proven science. Yeah, I appreciate you, Bull. We have 40, I think these are Indian rupees. From Machu Channel, thank you so much. And 2 Canuck bucks from Flint and Steel. For the love of God, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely for the love of God, indeed. Right. So, y'all, we have 800 people watching on TikTok. We have, 432 people on the horizontal stream, and then probably another 500 or so on the vertical stream. And yet no people, okay, there's a person in the guest box. I figured it was fast. I figured that would happen eventually. Luke, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing A-okay. Luke, how old do you think the Earth is?
So I'm agnostic, and so I lean towards science, but I wanted to ask you a question to know like how I would refute this when I'm talking to like religious people, if
Sure.
that's okay. So I heard you earlier discussing like, we'll say for example, tree rings, and how they, example like 13,000 years old if you count the rings. How would you refute someone claiming that God just like designed it that way when he built it 6,000 years ago, and like he just gave it enough rings that make it look like that?
Yeah, so then God would just be closer to Loki than he would be to the God of the Bible because he's deceiving us.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, like that's what it boils down to, right? He's planting false evidence.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So you can make the moral argument there that it's wrong for him to do that. Okay.
Well, no, it just is not consistent. You get a contradiction from the Bible because it says God is not a deceiver, and yet God is deceiving, which means that we can't trust the Bible to come to the conclusion that the Earth is 6,000 years old.
Okay. Thank you so much, Doctor. I appreciate your time.
Take care. All right. Let's talk to Sky Strikes. Was Jason one of the trolls?
Hello?
Sky, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Sky, how old do you think the Earth is?
Well, I sort of similar to the last guest. I mean, I think I'm on the side of science. I used to be a Christian a long time ago. I hear people sort of on the apologist side when they're discussing, and you can tell me if this is off topic or not. And
Look, so Sky Strike, it is off topic. I'm trying to only bring up people who disagree, so I'm going to let you go. Let's talk to It's Kuba.
Hello.
Kuba, how's it going?
Hello. It's good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How old do you think the Earth is, Kuba?
Right. I think it could be really, really old. And I wanted to ask
How old is really, really old?
About older than maybe even science might tell us. Maybe.
Okay.
Or let's say mainstream science.
So do
I
you
wanted
think
to
the
ask you the
Earth
question.
isn't 6,000 years old?
No, I think we might disagree, but maybe not specifically on this point.
Okay, but it does say Earth isn't 6,000 years old. Join if you disagree. So I'm going to let you go. Please read the lives, y'all. Drew.
What's up? Sorry, I'm new here. I just saw your channel. I wanted to wish you good luck because I don't think many people, like, you're not going to be able to accept many people if this is the claim that you're going with.
There are a lot of people. I've spoken to hundreds of people about this claim. It's just for some reason nobody can read today. How old do you think the Earth is, Drew?
4.5 to like plus or minus a 5 billion years. Like I'm sticking with science on this.
Thank you for being here. Let's talk to Z Johnson. Johnson, how's it going?
Wonderful.
How old do you think the Earth is, Johnson?
About 4.6 million years old.
Million years old? Do you mean billion?
Billion. Yeah, I did mean billion. Yeah.
Thanks for being here. All right, let's talk to Pikazeus. Pikazeus,
Hey,
how's it going?
It's going freaking awesome. Good morning.
Glad to hear it. How old do you think the Earth is, Pikazeus?
I mean, I guess it's at least 6,000 years old.
Okay. Do you think that it's younger than 20,000 years old?
No, not at all. I just wanted to troll and be like, it's at least 6,000. So
don't troll. I don't know what's so hard to read. What is the hard part here? You think that do you think that the Earth is less than 20,000 years old? Join the join the live. If not, don't. John, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. John, how old do you think the Earth is?
6,000 years old.
All right. Tell me why.
So you have a misunderstanding of Scripture.
Okay.
Obviously in the beginning, he created heaven and the earth, and man's dwelling on earth started about 6,000 years ago. Prior to that, we existed in heaven as perfect beings.
Yeah, so I was asking how old the Earth is, not how old man is.
So Earth is, as old as, 6,000 years old in man's eyes.
I don't know what that means. Like, how many times do you think the Earth has gone around the sun?
6,000 times.
Okay, so why do you think that?
Well, because that's what Scripture says.
Well, it doesn't really say that, right? You kind of have to infer that from the text and from various ages and things like that.
You can interpret that, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, but like clearly there are people who interpret it otherwise, right?
Sure, but they're wrong.
How do you determine who's wrong and who's right in this situation?
Well, because if you're not abiding by Scripture, where Scripture, gives you something that you can estimate, and you're going and you're saying, hey, that's not true. We're gonna use a rock and date it, and that's how we're gonna determine how old the planet is. You're wrong. And actually, science is actually realizing how wrong they are.
Right. So look, I guess my point is there are Christians who take the Bible very seriously, who think that the Earth is billions of years old. So what makes them wrong and you right?
Well, they've been influenced by science, and that's.
Maybe, but if they're able to make sense of this with their Christian faith, how does that mean that you're right and they're wrong?
Like I just told you, they got influenced by science.
That doesn't make them wrong, though.
Yes, it does.
Being influenced by science makes you wrong?
If I just told you, right? If I just told you the science community is wrong, then obviously I believe Christians who believe the science community are also wrong.
Right, but I mean, like, surely you don't think that all science is wrong? Well, I mean,
we're not talking about that.
Well, so then like being influenced by science isn't necessarily a bad thing, is it?
It can be, absolutely.
How do you determine when it's a bad thing?
When it comes to disrupting your faith, yeah.
But it doesn't disrupt their faith. They're still just as Christian.
If the Bible gives you an estimation, if it's putting you in a ballpark, and you're saying,
it doesn't though, right?
Well, it does. It does put you in a ballpark. And you're saying, oh, that's wrong. I'm going to say it's much, much older.
I mean, but it doesn't though, right? Because, I mean, for example, people use the verse, you're familiar with the verse like, what is it? Like a day is like 1,000 years to God or something like this?
Yeah.
So people take that verse to understand that the way that God thinks about time is not the way that we think about time. And given that then, the creation of man, the creation of the earth, could have been over a much different period of time than as described in Genesis 1.
Well, we're going by God time, and in God time, it's
God time might be it might have only taken 6 days, but for the amount of times the Earth went around the sun, it might have been 4.5 billion times.
But that's your worldly interpretation. If we're going by the time that heaven has already mandated, then it's 6,000 years old. And
so what I'm asking is, how many times do you think the Earth has gone around the sun?
And I told you 6,000 times.
Right, and so. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that 6,000 times around the sun is how long it takes for 6,000 God years to take place, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, not necessarily.
So it could be that the first 6 days of creation actually took 13.8 billion years, right?
No.
13.8 billion of Earth years, if you want to call it.
No.
Why is that not possible?
The mathematics exist, right? They exist, and they say that, hey, it could have taken 6,000 years for all of this to happen in our time too.
How do you figure? What mathematics? I thought we weren't allowed to rely on science.
Well, God invented math.
God invented math?
Yeah.
I don't really know what that means. But look, what I'm getting at is that there are ways to understand the Bible that treat the Bible as true, while also coming to the conclusion that the Earth is billions of years old.
It's not that old.
Well, so then the question is why? So look, there are two different interpretations. One is that the Earth is 6,000-ish years old. The other is that the Earth is billions of years old. How do you determine which interpretation is correct?
We go by Scripture.
But the thing you're trying to determine is which interpretation of Scripture is correct. So you can't rely on Scripture to tell you which interpretation is correct, because you're interpreting Scripture.
Are you a Christian?
No.
Are you formally a Christian?
No.
Are you Jewish?
Yes. Well, kind of.
Okay. And so how do you, in your mind, as a Jewish person, reading the Torah, and you say, "Hey, that's not true." How do you rationalize that?
Well, I don't think that the Bible is literally true.
Why would you think that?
Because there are things that it says that are false.
And what things did it say?
For example, it says that plants existed before the sun did. It says that flying animals, birds, existed before land animals did. Those are both not true.
Yes, it is.
We have evidence that says it's not.
We have evidence to say that's true.
What's the evidence that says it's true?
I mean, we had plants in the ocean.
That doesn't answer my question. What's the evidence that says plants existed before the sun did?
We have plants that don't even need sun.
That doesn't answer my question. What's the evidence that says that plants existed before the sun did?
And there's science that says...
Can you answer the question?
Well, I'm telling you, I'm giving you your answer in your language, the language of science.
Yeah, what's the evidence?
And the science says that rocky planets actually form quicker than a sun does.
Okay, can you cite your source for that, please?
Well, I don't have a source, but I've read that before.
Where have you read it?
Maybe in Science Magazine, for sure.
In Science Magazine, your claim is that rocky planets form before the sun is? I don't think that's true.
Yes,
I don't think that's true. Oh,
it is
okay. So surely if I Google, do the planets form before the sun does? It'll say yes?
Yeah, I mean, you think of...
Okay, let's Google. Did the planets form before the sun did? Now, I don't love the AI overview, but it gives a quick answer, and it usually has pretty good sources. So let's just take a look really quick. Just a real brief look as to what it says. So I just Googled, did the planets form before the sun did? Answer, no. The sun and the planets formed at roughly the same time from a single cloud of gas and dust,
That's
with
not
the sun
true.
forming in the center first and the planets forming shortly after in a disk around it.
That's not true.
On what grounds do you think it's not true?
It said roughly the same time. Roughly the same time is not the exact same time.
And yeah, it says
so-
roughly the same time, with the sun
so-
forming in the center first and the planets forming shortly around it.
No, you think, I assume you're a smart person. I want you to think.
Well, wait a minute, but hold on. You said that if I Googled this, it would say, yeah, the planets did form before the sun, but it didn't say that.
You're reading AI, so.
Okay, well, do you want to look instead at like Wikipedia? Is Wikipedia okay?
Well, I just want to say this. You know, I just
Unless
want
you have
to-
some better source that makes
I
the
just
claim that
want
you're
you
trying to make.
to think. I just want you to think about it. I mean, can you think, right, that a huge sun would form before a small planet?
Yes, because in order for the planet to form, you first need the accretion disk to form.
You don't need that.
Yeah, that's how planets form in the first place.
No, it's not.
They form via accretion disks, yeah.
That's totally not true. I mean, you already have the gravity in the area, and the gravity brings the rocks together. Yeah.
Here, let me show you something.
Go ahead.
Formation of the planets. The various planets are thought to have formed from the solar nebula, the disc-shaped cloud of gas and dust left over from the sun's formation. The currently accepted method by which the planets formed is accretion, in which the planets began as dust grains in orbit around the central protostar, through direct contact, blah, 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 blah. Importantly, the disc-shaped cloud of gas and dust left over from the sun's formation. That's the accretion disk.
Well, that's an accepted theory.
Yeah,
It's not
that is
necessarily
the
true.
accepted understanding. So do you
But it's
have
not-
some
but-
better reason to think
But
otherwise?
you're saying you're talking as if it's a definitive. It's not.
Well, that is the scientific consensus. Are we just doing science denial now?
Yeah, but we don't accept the scientific consensus.
Okay,
We
so
just-
just to be clear, you're just fine just doing science denial then.
well, and you're fine doing Torah denial and Bible
Yeah.
denial, which is crazy,
I don't believe in God. So
and that's insane because the evidence is everywhere.
okay, so to be clear, if I present you scientific evidence that, the Earth is more than 20,000 years old, like, for example, radiometric dating, ice core samples, tree ring cores, or tree ring chronologies, coral reef growth rings, if I present you these things, would this be evidence that the Earth is older than 20,000 years old?
Not necessarily.
Oh, so what do you think evidence is?
Well, it's not necessarily evidence; it's a theory, right?
Sorry, I would be presenting you with data. I don't know what evidence is except data.
But even data is a theory, is it not?
Data's not a theory, no. That's a category
is.
error.
It is a theory.
That's a category error.
I mean, all of this is man-made. That's not necessarily real. So
What's man-made? The coral is man-made? The
that
ice
is-
cores are man-made? The
that
tree
is-
rings are man-made?
Your interpretation is man-made, absolutely.
So do we agree that, trees grow roughly one ring a year?
Some grow faster than that.
Oh, can you tell me about which trees grow more than one ring a year?
Well, I mean, you have, I don't know. You have trees
So
that
then
grow
why'd you
fast.
say it?
I'm telling you, you have trees that grow fast and trees that grow
Growing
slower.
fast and growing slow doesn't say anything about how often they grow rings. A ring is
Yeah, it
not a
does.
certain amount of distance. No, a ring is a growth period.
Yeah, which can be shorter or
Growth
quick, or,
periods are seasonal, right?
No, it's not necessarily.
That's what causes tree rings. Seasonal growth periods.
I mean, they can grow quicker or they can grow slower. I'm telling you.
The,
You know that's
the
true. You
rate
know
of
it's
growth.
true.
The rate of growth determines the size of the tree ring.
Of course.
It doesn't determine how many tree rings in a given year are grown.
You don't understand what you're saying, and that's clear.
I don't
right?
think. I don't think you do. I'm pretty
I'm
sure I
saying
know what
you-
I'm talking about. I don't think you
No.
understand what I'm saying.
No, I'm telling you that.
Like you understand that a tree ring is just a differential in growth rate, right?
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying at the rate that they grow.
The rate at which the
quicker.
tree rings grow?
Yeah, they can be quicker, or they can be, take longer. That's what I'm telling you.
On what grounds do you think that that's the case?
Well, I mean, just by the fact that not all trees have the same biology.
So are you just going like because it seems right?
Yeah.
So there are specific trees that are frequently used for tree ring growth because these trees are the kinds of trees that, or for tree ring dating.
Well, you didn't say
because these trees live in places with seasonal climates. They're I don't think bamboo has growth rings, by the way, because bamboo just grows the whole time. I don't think that there's a dry season really. But the point is we can use tree rings to figure out how old things are. Surely you don't disagree with that.
You didn't say a specific tree. You were saying trees.
No, I
in
mean
general.
like there are certain trees that are better used for dendrochronology because they exist in places that have seasonal growth or that have seasonal growth patterns. Like you'll have a wet season and a dry season, for example.
So are you conceding the point?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
Are you conceding the point?
What point?
The point that I said that trees have different rates of growth, and you're saying no, but then you changed your mind and said.
So there are some trees that don't have growth rings.
Well, okay then.
That I would believe.
So you have
but
to.
That wasn't my
concede your
claim,
point.
and that wasn't your claim either.
Well, no, you said trees in general grow at the same rate, and I'm telling you, no, that's not true.
I didn't say that trees grow at the same rate. I would have never said that.
And then you said, oh well, specific trees.
Well, specific trees have growth rings. Not all trees have growth rings, right?
Okay then. Well, so you have to concede your point.
Concede what point? That you can still use growth rings to figure out how old things are because growth rings are yearly.
Look, you think you're more intelligent than I am, but I went to UC.
Yeah.
Okay. What school did you go to?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Okay then. Probably some community college.
I have a PhD, if that means anything.
You went to community college and you probably went to some state school.
I have a PhD, if that means anything.
It doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it means you wasted your time and your money.
It didn't cost me anything, actually. When you get a PhD in STEM, it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, but you still spend some money.
Spend some money on what?
On lodging and food and
They pay you. They pay you to get the PhD.
Well, yeah, I mean, they pay you to do that, but you wasted your
So
time.
are you telling me that I spent money to live? Like, you're
Yeah,
right.
I
I
mean-
did spend money to buy food and pay rent. Yeah, that's a thing that everybody does. Or maybe pay a mortgage if you have a house.
But what I'm saying is you wasted your time.
No, it definitely wasn't a waste of time.
Yeah, it was because you clearly.
I know a lot now, and I get to do what I love. So definitely wasn't a waste of time. This seems like a deflection, though, John.
I'm not deflecting.
Look, the point is, you're
wasted
definitely deflecting. The point is that there's overwhelming scientific evidence that says that the Earth is older than say 20,000 years old. So my question is, what do you do with all that?
Oh, you say, that's man's mistake, and you ignore it.
So what are the odds that all of the evidence agrees that it's older than 20,000 years old? What are the odds of that?
It's wrong.
That wasn't my question. What are the odds? What are the odds that they're all wrong in the same way?
100%. Those are the odds.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this. Imagine that you're taking here we go. So imagine that you are giving a multiple choice test to a bunch of students, right? So you're giving a multiple choice test, and on question 1, there's 4 options, A, B, C, or D. The correct answer is A. But all of your students, all 20 of them, they all mark C. Now, what are the odds that they would all mark the same wrong answer?
Well, if they cheated, for sure.
Sure. So so that still doesn't answer my question. But the point is, it's fine. I understand what you're trying to say. The point is if they're all wrong in the exact same way, then that points to there being some sort of explanation for why they're all wrong in the exact same way. Because otherwise, the odds of that happening are very, very low.
Well,
so what is the explanation for why all of the scientific evidence is wrong in the exact same way?
Well, first of all, man hasn't even been around long enough to.
Can
even
you
get
answer
a
my question,
bearing.
please?
I am answering your question.
You're going to give me an explanation for why all of the science is wrong in the same way?
Exactly.
Okay, please.
Because man hasn't been around long enough to get a bearing on what's right and what's wrong outside of Scripture. And so, you got these bigwigs, telling you that, hey, this is exactly how the Earth formed, and this is exactly how tree rings work. It's not true.
Okay, so the explanation is that humans haven't been around for very long, and that there's bigwigs telling everybody to lie?
Yeah.
Do you have evidence for this global conspiracy that you're proposing?
Yeah. There's an agenda at work, right?
Yeah, what's the evidence for this global conspiracy?
And so, you have depopulation.
Sorry, what does the age of the Earth have to do with depopulation?
It has everything to do with it.
Okay. Yeah, so what's the evidence that there is this global conspiracy of bigwigs telling people to lie about the age of the Earth?
They're telling you that the Earth is billions of years old, and now they're telling you this is the worst time the planet has ever been. It's the worst conditions it's ever been in because of
Do you think that these are the same people?
Absolutely.
So the people who are telling you that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, these are physicists. The people who are telling you about the climate, those are climatologists. These are different people, right?
But they collude together.
I've literally never worked with a climatologist before.
Well, that's you.
I'm a physicist.
That's you specifically.
Can you give me examples of climatologists colluding with physicists?
I just gave you one.
No, you gave me a conspiracy that you think is true. I want an actual example of this happening.
Are you familiar with Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Sure. Acclaimed non-physicist.
Every now and then, he'll get on TV, and he's a astronomer or whatever he is, and he talks
about... He's a science popularizer, by the way.
Well, I'm sure he has a degree in something, right? But
but a degree doesn't make you that job, right?
It means you have a certain level of expertise, does it not?
Sure.
Okay. And so, besides PhDs, of course. But, and then he goes and he talks about climate.
Yep.
Because, he's just pushing the agenda. He's pushing the agenda that people are making the planet worse.
Sorry, I was asking for examples of physicists colluding with climate scientists.
And that's one.
Oh, so where's the collusion? It just sounds like he was saying something. Collusion usually involves more than one person.
Okay. Well, I'm sure when you were growing up, did you ever watch the Discovery Channel?
Yeah, the Discovery Channel was great.
Yeah, and then you had plenty of people on there that were physicists and climate people. They were all colluding on this whole big climate agenda.
Can you give me any examples?
Well, there was a period in time where that was nothing that you saw.
I don't know what that sentence meant. There's a period in time where that was nothing that you saw? What does that mean?
Well, that was all that you saw is what I meant to say.
You saw physicists colluding with climate? So give me an example. I don't think that this is a thing that actually happened.
I'm telling you I'm telling you that it did happen, right? And because
what is this, just trust me, bro?
Well, no, I'm telling you that there were times where you would watch TV and there would be, a physicist talking about, the age of the planet. Mm-hmm. And then some climate guy will come on there, some nut would say, the planet is warming, global warming. It was global warming. So before that.
So how are they colluding? The physicist is talking about the physics. The climatologist is talking about the climate. That doesn't mean that they're colluding.
It was the ozone layer. Now it's global warming. Now it's climate change. It
doesn't seem like you're addressing the question. Look, you're asserting a global conspiracy amongst climate scientists and, I guess, physicists. Do you know when we figured out how old the Earth was? That it was around 4.5 billion years old. Do you know how long ago that was figured out?
When you thought?
Do you know how long ago that was figured out?
When you thought it was figured out?
Do you know how long ago this very first study was published?
I can't tell you because I don't know.
It was in the 1950s. I think it was either late 50s or early 60s, right? So back then, climate change wasn't even a thought in anybody's mind, right? So why would they have published this if they were colluding with climate scientists that didn't exist?
You know, there are world orders older than some countries.
That doesn't address my question.
Yes, it does. The Freemason Society.
Okay, so are you telling me that you have reason to believe that the person who published this first paper claiming that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old was a Freemason?
Yes, all the founders of this country were Masons. What are you talking about? Yes.
The founder of the country wasn't one of the scientists who published this paper.
Doesn't matter.
Let me go find the
telling you,
author of the paper.
They all collude. This goes back centuries.
I don't think you know what you're talking about.
I absolutely know what I'm talking about.
So the person that we're talking about was actually a chemist, not a physicist, turns out. Their name is Claire C. Patterson. So you believe that you have reason to think that Claire C. Patterson was a member of a secret society?
All of them. All of them.
Okay,
were.
do you have any evidence for this?
Yes.
Okay, what's the evidence?
That's just how prevalent it was back then. You know, to be a Freemason, to be a Rosicrucian.
What do you mean back then? This was in the 50s.
Yeah, even then.
So what do you mean back then? What time period are you referring to?
The 1950s. And
okay, so where is the evidence that he was a Freemason?
Can I just explain something to you, okay?
I imagine you're probably not going to explain anything, but go ahead.
Yes, I am. Can I just
explain?
Here's the real deal. Blitz, right? As soon as they perfect their AI robots, they're not going to need us human slaves anymore, and they're just going to they're just going to annihilate us, right? And they're just going to say, "Oh, it's climate change," and you're sitting here and defending these people, or they're actively plotting our demise, right?
I'm defending geochemists. The geochemists are plotting our demise.
Yes, these people are.
Who do you know what a geochemist is?
Of course I do. Okay,
tell me what a geochemist is.
A chemist that studies geology. I don't fucking know, but
it's the chemistry of rocks, basically. Why are geochemists particularly plotting our demise? What are you talking about?
The writing is on the wall. As soon as they perfect AI and these robots, they're not going to need human beings anymore.
Who? The geochemists are perfecting AI?
They're going to say we're a strain on resources.
Is it the geochemists that are perfecting the AI?
They're colluding.
The geochemists are colluding. Where's the evidence of any of this?
It's all over the place. And you know,
present me one concrete piece of evidence, please.
The guiding stones in Georgia.
One concrete piece of evidence.
I just gave you the guiding stones in Georgia.
Okay. When were those built? Do you know?
I don't know.
How do you not know? Do you know anything about them?
Are you familiar with them?
I'm very familiar with them.
Okay, then you should know.
I do know when they were built. Do you know when they were built?
Are you colluding against us as well?
Well, I'm not colluding with anyone because I'm currently having a conversation with you and not somebody else. But yeah, I'm part of the scientific community. So you probably think I am part of some giant conspiracy, which, you have absolutely no reason to believe except that your pastor has lied to you.
No, I'm telling you that scientists and rich people are colluding against poor people like us.
You know, scientists are poor people, right? Like generally?
Well, some of them are, but
like,
I mean, they're
how much money do you think a grad student makes?
Well, they're valued for their brain, right? For their intelligence, right?
Yeah, so how much money do you think a grad student makes?
Well, probably $30,000 a year.
Yeah, maybe if they're lucky, right? So why would they be colluding against poor people if they're poor people?
Well, I mean, they're not always going to be poor, and they're valued for their
PhD grad students won't always be poor. Grad students are always poor. Now, once they stop being grad students, they might get a job that pays better. Maybe they'll get a job paying $50K a year, maybe $60K a year even.
Well, I just told you this. After they kill us all, there's going to be a society of scientists and rich people and attractive people, and they're going to kill everyone else.
Society of scientists, rich people, and attractive people.
Yeah, that's what they're going to. It's
so
all over.
Are you telling John? Are you telling me that you are poor and dumb? Sorry, poor and ugly.
Well, I'm not to the liking, obviously, right? Even though I went to UC Berkeley. The thing is that you have these people that want nothing but hyper intelligent superhumans, and they don't want us, and they want to keep the population
so
under.
they want people who are not poor and ugly.
Well, no, they want to keep the population under 150,000, and they want nothing but supermodels with big brains and that are, strong. And so,
and all of this comes from what evidence?
The Georgia Guidestones.
All right. What did the Georgia Guidestones say? By the way, it's Guidestones, not Guiding Stones.
Well, okay.
What did they say on them? Do you know?
Well, they had directions or advice for those that were to survive. Well, I guess not necessarily survive, but these people were already colluding with one another, and they gave directions, and they said,
what does it say?
It said you need to keep the population under 150,000 people.
Oh, did it? Is that really what it said? Are you sure?
Can you correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah, it was 500 million.
And see that? What do you? I mean, that means billions of people are going to die.
Yeah, and so to be clear, the Guidestones, and I don't really agree with them, but the Guidestones were put up in place by probably just some rich guy. We don't really know who because it was anonymous, but the Guidestones were intended as advice for what would happen after a global nuclear war. It was advice for what the survivors should do after a global nuclear war.
And what do you think that means for us? Right?
Well, what that means is that if there's a global nuclear war and the population goes down to, 10 million, then the advice of keeping the population under 500 million doesn't involve killing off anybody.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't, because everybody's already dead.
It does.
Everybody's already dead.
And you're sitting here defending this, so I know you're part of this.
Look. So if it was the case, John, if it was the case that say there was a global nuclear war and only 10 million humans were left alive afterwards, because maybe Russia got mad and China got mad and India got mad and the U.S. got mad, everybody fired their missiles everywhere, right? And only 10 million people were left alive. There would be a few of these things on the inscription are actually pretty reasonable. So it says maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Well,
you think that's reasonable?
Hold on, I wasn't done. What they're saying is if you have 10 million people now, try not to overpopulate, because overpopulation, that uses up resources. That means that more people have fewer. Now, I don't know if I actually agree with that. To be clear, I don't actually know if I agree with that, but that's at least something that is not, it's not totally irrational. It also says, for example, for example, unite humanity with a living new language. Oh, so we should all speak the same language? That seems reasonable. It says rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. It means, make your governments reasonable. Okay, that seems good. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. That sounds reasonable, right?
This is absolutely
Let
insane.
all nations rule internally resolved external disputes in a world court. Seems pretty reasonable. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Seems pretty reasonable. Balance personal rights with social duties. Seems pretty reasonable. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Again, seems pretty reasonable. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Again, seems pretty reasonable. So actually, except maybe the population reduction thing, everything on it is pretty reasonable.
That is absolutely insane coming from you. And
so to be clear, you think that protecting people and nations with fair laws and just courts is insane?
No, I just knew that you would agree with these things because.
Do you think that that's insane? Do you disagree with that? That we should protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts?
You just said that 500 million people would be.
I said I disagreed with that, but the rest of it's pretty good.
Not at first. You said, well, it seems like it'd be okay. That's what you said.
If you already have 10 million, then the advice, if you only have 10 million, advice of saying don't go above this amount, that's actually that's not advocating for the murder of anybody, right?
So are you saying that 7 billion people currently is too much? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think that we're doing okay. Post-nuclear apocalypse, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the world would look like then.
Oh, so you obviously think some people should die then. That's what you're saying.
No, I don't think that. But look, do you think that the entirety of the inscription is insane?
Absolutely. What are you talking about?
Okay, so just to be clear, you think that it's insane to protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts? You think it's insane to avoid petty laws and useless officials? I guess you love bureaucracy.
No, The entire.
You think it's insane to balance personal rights with social duties? Ha, that's crazy.
The entire inscription is calling for mass genocide.
You think it's insane to leave room for nature?
Yes, it is.
Wild.
Yes, it is.
That's insane. It's crazy. We shouldn't leave nature. We shouldn't leave nature intact. We shouldn't we shouldn't have nature reserves. That's insane.
We have dominion over nature. That's our divine right.
That's insane.
No, it's not.
It is insane.
That's our divine right to have dominion over nature and the beasts of the earth.
I'm sure. Look, so if your evidence for the global cabal is one rich guy put up some random monuments in Georgia that like most people have never even heard of, if that's your evidence for a global cabal of geochemists who are trying to trick the people into thinking that the earth is 4.5 billion years old, like I have a bridge I can sell you if you want. It's made of granite.
Let me just explain something to you in the simplest terms, okay? A rich man, and this is part of the group of people that I told you was going to take over after all of this happens, said he put this up, and that's what he said. And then you, as
we actually don't know who put it up. It's anonymous.
Well,
so
we can assume that
you just made it up. You just made that up.
Well, we can assume that this person had the money, can we not?
Maybe.
Okay, then. And then you're also claiming to be some sort of scientist of some sort, and you agree with it. That's exactly what I said.
I don't agree with all of it, but I agree with some of the things on it.
Scientists are going to kill us all.
Well, I agree with some of the things on it. Like, I agree that preserving nature is a good thing. I imagine that you agree with that too.
You agree with killing people.
No, I don't. I actually said I don't agree with that.
That's a sad world because I just literally heard you
agree. Do you agree with killing people? Because I said I don't agree with killing people.
Yeah, some people do need to die.
Oh. That's like fucking crazy to say on live. Hello, YouTube. That's like who needs to die there, John?
Plenty of people.
Can you give me an example?
I don't think we want to go there.
I kind of do want to go there, actually.
No.
I want to dive into the enigma that is your simple brain.
Simple?
Yeah.
I went to UC Berkeley, actually. So
you're so proud of that. You know, it's a state school, right?
It is a state school, but it's one of the top universities in the world.
It wasn't when you went.
It was, actually.
I don't know, man. And if it was, they wouldn't have admitted you.
Well, I'm a graduate, so thank you. Yeah, we don't have to get into that today.
Okay, so you thought it was okay to say that some people should die, but you're too afraid on live to say who it was, who it should be?
I'm not afraid of anything.
Okay, then tell me. Who do you think? Who deserves it?
Who do I think? Well, first of all, Indians. Pretty much all of them.
Like, are we talking like Native Americans, or are we talking people from India?
No, we're talking about Indians from India. All of them, every single one of them. I'm sorry. I know you forced me into saying it, but I didn't really want to say it. And then, if we're gonna go that route, then
that's like the wildest racism I've ever heard. This is crazy.
Well, it's not racism.
Well, I mean, it kind of is. You're saying like, yeah, the Indians should be dead. Like,
I mean, they're
that's
killing
kind of racism.
They're killing themselves.
That's not what you said. You said that they should be dead.
Yeah, they should be.
So racism. So we're doing racism.
It's not racism.
Actually, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry. I thought that you were against genocide.
Well, mass genocide.
How many Indians do you think there are?
Billions.
Okay, so would you say that the death of billions of people would be mass genocide?
Not necessarily.
What do you think the word mass means?
Well, if you're killing, 90% of the world population.
Oh, so like it would have been fine if the Georgia Guidestone said maintain humanity under 6 billion people?
No.
Oh, because is that mass genocide?
No.
Oh, but you want the population under that.
Well, some populations should not exist, is what I'm saying.
Which is like clearly like a sign of straight mental illness, right?
No, that's based on evidence, actually.
Oh, it's based on evidence that Indians should be dead. This is like crazy.
No, I mean, there's some.
This is the most psychotic, like Hitler mustache wearing nonsense I've heard in a
I'm
long
just
time.
saying they pollute, and they're inbred.
I thought that we had dominion over the earth, Nazi.
I'm not a Nazi, first of all.
I mean, I don't know, man. Walks like a duck, hiles like a duck.
I mean, did I say Jews? I didn't say Jews, did I? I didn't say that.
You can be a Nazi and not be particularly hateful about the Jews.
Okay, well.
Oh my God, this is wild.
I'm just saying, specifically Indians and some Arabs.
By the way, for those who are currently considering whether they should convert to Christianity, this is what you have to look forward to. Hateful genocide spewing nonsense from idiots like John, who self-admitted that they're ugly and dumb.
I'm a graduate, first of all.
I'm a graduate, first of all. Like, clearly you graduated with a degree in genocide.
No, I did not actually. I'm just saying I shouldn't say I'm not advocating for these people to die. I'm saying
you actually did say that they should die. That is advocating for it, actually.
I'm saying they should be dead.
That's what advocating is.
No. I'm not saying that people should actively go out and kill them. I'm saying they should already be dead.
Do you want them to be dead?
They should already be dead. Yes.
That doesn't answer my question.
They should already be dead.
Do you want them to be dead?
Not necessarily. Yeah, I do actually.
Oh, so you're advocating for it. Great.
No.
Bye, John. Have fun in hell. Wow. What a great... I've never encountered somebody who just outright says that. That's crazy. That's going straight up on YouTube. Yeah, so if you happen to know him, I would like don't dox him. Doxing, no bueno. Definitely don't dox. But if you happen to know who that guy was, check on him. Because maybe he escaped from Berkeley Mental Health Institution or something. Jesus Christ. No, don't dox. Don't dox. Yeah, maybe I'll tag UC Berkeley too. That's a good idea. Have them revoke his... Jesus. All right, we have some super chats, and then we'll bring up another guest. I don't know how we can... Oof. Right, so from Jay, we have $2 Well, that was colorful language to join to. Yeah, it's about to go a lot worse if you're just watching. Kieran Dave with the $10. The Tone Police and Gaslighting Goons are out in force today. Yeah, and I guess I kind of regret not keeping the Tone Police and Gaslighting Goons on for longer. That was rough. Asswope with the $5. I'm Christian. Go to church. The Big Bang 100% fits within Christianity. People who believe this must be very few at this point. Yeah, well, you just met one. Ken with the $20. Thank you so much, Ken. That last guy was rude. Sorry, he happened to have horrible manners. So that was, just to be clear, that was sent about 40 minutes ago. It got a lot worse. Ken, again with the $5, talking about the guy who came to just insult you and aggressive things. Yeah, that happens sometimes. C-Bar, thank you for the $3, man. Aswope with the $5 again, or Aswope. I'm Christian, go to church, the Big Bang. Oh, I already read this. We have $100 from Kung Pao Chicken. Let's get W Kung Pao Chicken in the chat. I appreciate you, Kung Pao. Thanks for your time, Doctor. Sorry I didn't come in with direct opinion on the 6,000 years. I was too tempted to touch base. Looking forward to Ask a Physicist and watching whatever's in between. Word to the wise, don't try unless you have a firm belief on the topic. Yeah, there you go. That's the right approach. Gretchen with the $3. John must be one of them plantologists. Yeah, he got his degree in plantology. Yeah, absolutely. Boogie the Cat with the $2. Sourced from Trust Me Bro magazine. Yeah, absolutely. Boogie the Cat also got their law degree from Costco. Tim Bimbadil, insert comments about caller's intelligence here. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Solar Lion with the 14 Canuck bucks. I actually hate when people just resort to deflecting and targeting the other person by saying, you think you're smarter than me, but still fail to prove that statement by using their alleged intelligence. Look, he was saying you probably went to a state school, but like he went to a state school, right? Dr. Fudge with the $10. It's me. I'm the bigwig. Can you tell them dark matter is actually caramel now? Thank you. Love bigwig telling you to lie about reality for reasons. Yeah, I'll make sure. Brian Peck with the $5 bragged about going to UC Berkeley, then runs down state schools, not realizing that UCB is a state school. Funny old man. Yeah, that was funny as a word. Flint and Steel with the 2 Canuck bucks. Dude sounds like he doesn't believe his own words. I don't know, man. He sounded pretty genuine to me. I don't know how to pronounce this name. I'm sorry, but thank you for the 2 Bulgarian somethings. Good evening to you. Docs and Greenlight with the $2. The level of information here is subterranean. Yeah, right? Bob Knoll, thank you for the $2. Callers, every statement is factually wrong. Odds? At least 1 in 8 billion, right? From Ken, $20. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate you. If it disagrees with me, I do not see, but if it approves what I say, it's plain as day. Hypocrisy of man. If science had agreed with these type of people, they'd say trust science instead of don't trust it. That's a good point. That's a good point, and I appreciate the rhyme. Brian, thank you for the $2. I'm educated. Other educated people are dumb, caller. Yeah. We have just a few more super chats to go through, and then we'll move on to our next guest, y'all. With £5 from Miko, to all physicists and climatologists, you forget to tell Blitz about the agenda, the conspiracy. How do you think that makes him feel? Yeah, if y'all are keeping this from me, why are you doing this? I want to be in. Tagar Mask with the £5. There are groups older than some countries. I'm 27 and I'm older than quite a few countries. Yeah, that's true. From Kieran Davis, or from Kieran Dave with the $5. Thank you so much, Kieran. I hope you're enjoying serving of deep American boomer mythology, Blitz. Yeah, that was tough, man. Like, I had to keep him on just to like let him dig himself a hole deep enough, but I don't know. We could only go so far. Docs and Greenlight with the $2. Elmer Fudd is a cultist conspiracy nut. Who knew? Yeah. JM with the $2. Thank you for the update. Goulian with the $10. Thank you, Goulian. I appreciate the $10. First, that deflection to the AI. I got whiplash from that, but I'm honestly worried for these people. They need help, like medical help to get the right meds. I'm so worried for these people. Look, I blame Facebook, to be honest. Like, I blame Facebook. Like, it's like Facebook and things like that, and probably to a certain extent TikTok too. It just, like, that's the kind of thing that leads to people down these rabbit holes, and they just believe that shit. Yeah, so, apparently that guy John posts videos from his own apartment window, easiest person to locate ever. Let's not dox people, okay? I'll tag UC Berkeley. Well, you know, he didn't, yeah. Let's just not dox people, okay? Duke of Shostka with the €5. This is a desperate call to all Masons, robots, Templars, and any other entities currently plotting Quantum's demise. Please hurry up. Yeah, right? Neck2 with the $5. This is the kind of guy that Christians would make POTUS just to own the libs. I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Well, lucky you. According to the Georgia Guidestones, maybe you won't have to. From Tim Bimbadil with the $5. Joke's on you, evil Mason colluder Blitz. AI can't replace me because I don't do anything. Sucker. Yeah, that's funny. We have a few more. And then Tim Davidson with the $2. Ask him if we should learn Arabic numerals. That would have been good. Duke of Shaska with the €2. It's a gebocide. It's a genocide only if his group is being unalived. Yeah, that's roughly what it sounds like. Gretchen with the $3. Caller, I dub thee John the Content Farm. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, that was part of it. Jim with the £5. No hate like Christian love. Yeah, that's what you have to look forward to if you plan on converting. Nid with the $10. Absolutely terrifying caller. Is he on a list yet? Can I convert back to Christianity to rebuke him in the name of Jesus? You can do that. Nobody will stop you. Wiz Nilly with the $6. That was something. Have a coffee on me. I appreciate that. Might you find it interesting with the $5? I watch your stream so I can learn how to deal with ignorant people. Oh, I don't know how to deal with people like that. There are so many more super chats, y'all. I'm going to get through them quickly. I'm not trying to skip over anybody, but, you know, we do have another guest to get to. From Known with the $5. But guys, he graduated from college. Nightman Cometh with the $10. Graduated UC Berkeley in Mustache Man Studies. What a troglodyte. Two pounds from Von Doodle. Last caller late for his ice shift. That's funny. Logan with the $5. I came in right after he admitted he wanted people dead, but I don't know which people he was talking about. Just satisfy my curiosity. He was talking about Indians, like people from India, apparently. Atomics with the 33 Polish zloty. Hi, I'm one of the damn team, Daily Atheist Media Network. Come into our Discord sometime. Could be fun. Enjoy your content. Send me a DM. We can talk. Sean with the $2. Christian Mystic Freemason here. That was insane. Killer Headache with the $2. You cooked him. Yeah, he cooked himself, to be honest. Oh, he also wanted to kill up some Arab people. Not all, but some. Onab with the $2. I married one of those. Hallelujah, I woke up. I'm so sorry. Billy with the 2 Canuck bucks, literally shaking from that last call. Yeah, I wasn't sure how long to keep them on for, but we do have to let them bury themselves. House with $10. John started kind of stupid and ended surreal. Yep, yes he did. Omara with the £2. Just wanted to let you know I'm a graduate. I'm a graduate too. We're all graduates here. Hoskins with the £2. What are your religious beliefs? I'm an atheist. A cat with Ebola. I sent you a PubMed link. Thanks for all you do. I'll take a look. Just 2 more. Lord Lumen Ispu with the $5. If you're afraid of spiders, remember, their legs work on hydraulics and blood. They are walking on 8 ponars, and now they're funny. That is funny. And Lionheart Dome with the 2,500 CLP. I don't know what that is, but thank you. Thank you for making this debate instances. Greeting and from a soon-to-be mechanical engineer. Well, as long as you didn't graduate from Berkeley, it's fine. All right, y'all. That was nuts. Thank you guys so much for the support, but remember, only join if you disagree with the background. Watch me get 100 people who say, oh, that guy's not a real Christian or something like this. Triumphant Loser, how's it going?
Hello.
Hey, how old do you think the Earth is, Triumphant Loser?
I believe it could be 6,000, but I also believe that it could be billions of years old.
Okay. Why?
Let's start with the 6,000. I do see where some Christians come from. They do believe in the Bible. They do. I am Christian myself. They do believe in the Bible. They see it as truthful. They don't see it as man's writing. And man is very deceiving. And there has been different interpretations of the Bible, different writings multiple times. So it's kind of hard to see the truth from lies or just saying things. For like the Bible sometimes says things like that and shit like that. You see what I mean?
It's hard to believe that the Bible says that it's 6,000, or it's hard to believe that the Earth is 6,000 years old because the Bible says that. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it can be. Okay. It's hard to talk about. Hold on. This is a subject where I'm really stuck on because I'm more leaning towards billions of years old, but I want confirmation to like more believe your side because I am not atheist, but I do believe that it could be billions of years old. I don't know all the proof and all this stuff, but I'd like you to convince me not. And
yeah,
I'd like
so
to go through that.
So there's a guy named Claire Patterson, right? He was born in the 20s. He did his work in the 50s. He basically figured out a way to figure out how old a certain kind of rock is. It's called a zircon crystal.
Okay.
And the conclusion or the gist of the story is that when these rocks form, like imagine that like they were like in lava, so they were like molten. And then as it cooled and solidified, it formed. When these rocks form, because of it's a crystal really, because of the way the chemicals align with each other. You remember from like high school how there's like in like table salt, there's like sodium and chlorine and like they're in like a certain like shape crystal structure.
Yes.
So like this type of crystal, it's called zircon. It has a certain crystal structure. And one of the features of its crystal structures is that it's mostly zirconium. There's zirconium and silicon and oxide in it. That's like what a zircon crystal is, but it can have impurities. And that's the key here. So if you go look at what a zircon crystal is, it's so it is zircon and silicon and oxygen, right? But sometimes the zircon part, sometimes the zirconium part can be swapped out for a uranium atom, because like those atoms are roughly the same. They're like similar in size, similar in electronegativity and things like this. So like so when the crystal's forming, sometimes there will just be like a little impurity of uranium. The thing is, at the same time when it's forming, lead, like, you know, lead atoms are different. They're too different, so they can't fit into the crystal structure. So when you have the zircon crystal forming, there can be uranium in it, but there can't be any lead.
Okay.
Just because of the chemistry. And so because uranium decays into lead, what you can do is you can look at a zircon crystal, and you can basically count how many lead atoms are in it
And
that
how
must have
old
gotten
it
there
is from
from
that?
decay, and then you can figure out how old it is. It's exactly that.
Okay. I honestly, that's really good proof there. Let me think. Just give me a second here. Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
So say, okay, in your opinion, is it even possible for like to have the thought of being a Christian and believing that God did create things and for it to still be billions of years old?
Sure.
Are you like
you can be a Christian and believe the Earth is billions of years old? Yeah, sure. I mean, so what I've seen a lot of Christians do who are like who, you know, are not science deniers, is they basically think that God kind of like set things in motion.
Yeah.
And then let the natural laws take over, and kind of just like kept an eye on things, and if things were going wrong would like tweak them a little bit and like just fix things if things weren't going how we wanted them to go.
Yeah.
And like, that seems like a totally, like, if you're going to be a Christian, that seems like a totally reasonable thing to believe.
Yeah. That's honestly where I'm at. I don't really have any questions. I just wanted you to like kind of like confirm this. Like I wanted to see if you were like completely just like on your side. You don't believe, you don't care what other people say on the live. I just like want to confirm that you're not one-sided, you know?
Yeah, I mean, look, like I happen to not be a Christian. I don't think that there's a God, but like, I'm not going to tell you that you don't have that you have to be an atheist. You can be
and
a
like
Christian
if I
and
were to
believe
like
true things.
Okay, yeah. And if I were to like give like viable information, you wouldn't say, "Oh, yeah, no, totally not."
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I'm interested in knowing what's true, and it seems like science is a pretty good way of figuring out what's true. And so, if we can use that, then all that means is that you should adjust your beliefs. That doesn't mean you have to throw out your beliefs; just adjust them.
Do you believe that science, math, and all of that stuff was a creation before it was either invented or found?
I think that these are like invented things.
Okay. Because I like in some places I see like this equation was found, not invented.
Yeah, I think that's like a semantic difference that's probably not correct.
Okay. I don't really have any much more questions.
That's fine. I'm gonna let you go, but thanks for being here.
All right.
Good luck. All right, let's bring on our next guest. Let's talk to Hayden Lockwood. What a name. What a name, what a name, what a name. What is in a name? Sorry, I'm still reeling from John. That was nuts. Hayden, how's it going?
Hello. First of all, I was with the whole John thing. That was crazy. And I just want to go out and say, like, any person who I believe has a relationship with Jesus, they do not say the things that man said, because he didn't say one thing that was anywhere near.
Didn't sound very Christian to me, but Hayden,
yeah, no, it wasn't. Okay, anyways. So I'm glad you brought me up, because with the guy on the last one, I'm Christian, but I wanted to propose the idea that the Bible doesn't actually, what am I looking for? It doesn't actually like say that it's 6,000 years old, and it doesn't support that it's millions or 6,000.
I didn't say that the Bible says it's 6,000 years old.
Oh, I just saw your statement about the church lied.
Right. It says the church, not the Bible.
Okay. If I could just say what I thought real quick, maybe to clear up, it's really quick.
Well, look, do you think that the Earth is 6,000 years old or 10,000 years old or whatever? Or do you think that it's quite old?
I mean, evidence points towards it being millions of years old.
You mean billions, probably.
Billions, yes. Yeah. Like,
okay, then I gotta let you go. I gotta let you go, Hayden.
All right, well.
All right, let's bring up Jeff. No, I guess we're not bringing up Jeff. Oh, no, we are bringing up Jeff. I lied. Jeff. Meanwhile, let's read the $2 dono from Lord Illuminus Pooh. Lord Illuminus Pooh. Well, I appreciate you correcting me. Thank you. My name Jeff. 21 Jump Street is so funny. All right, it looks like Jeff's not connecting. All right, let's talk to Nick. I'm not going to say his full name because it'll sound like something that'll get me canceled. Nick, how's it going?
Hello.
Nick.
I'm doing awesome, dude. How are you doing?
I'm doing it. Well, I'm doing all right. Nick, how old do you think the Earth is?
So, okay, I already before we you kicked me, right? Because we already talked about this, and you unilaterally agreed that that church said this is not the Bible. But that's besides the point. I really wanted to debate you about theology itself, and this next stream that I joined, I'm anticipating for the question, why do you believe in God? Because I think that would be truly an interesting discussion, and I'm looking forward to talk about it, honestly.
All right.
And
I'm going to let you go, but feel free to come back then. Let's talk to King Calamity.
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
I can. King, how's it going?
Good, how about you?
I'm doing A-okay. King, how old do you think the Earth is?
I don't think I disagree with the 6,000 years, but I don't disagree with what science says either.
Wait, so I'm confused. You don't disagree with it being 6,000 years old, so you do think it's 6,000 years old?
I'm not saying there is a definitive answer unless given a definitive answer.
Okay. So but you're telling me you don't think the Earth is billions of years old?
I'm not arguing that it isn't. Does that make sense? I'm
You're
not saying
arguing that it isn't?
I'm saying it could be, but I can't give you a definitive answer.
Do you think that the scientific consensus is wrong?
No, I believe that, given God being omnipotent, I mean, what we believe God is, I think that if he willed science to be what science is, he could do that.
Yeah. So would science then be wrong?
I think that the human perception of what God would believe would be different.
I don't understand what that statement means. Look, what I'm asking is, do you not think that the scientific consensus that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, do you think that that's incorrect?
From a human perspective, I think it could be correct.
I don't know what that means. I'm asking, how many times did the Earth go around the sun? Do you think it was closer to 4.5 billion years, or do you think it was not? Do you think it was closer to 10,000 years?
I would say it's it could be anything. It could be between that as well.
Well, okay. So why do you think that the scientific consensus that it's closer to 4.5 billion years is incorrect? Why do you think that that's not well substantiated?
Well, it's like I said, we have no 100% guaranteed proof.
Okay,
Science can,
whatever. We don't have 100% guaranteed proof of anything. That
anything,
doesn't mean that you
exactly.
can't hold beliefs. Do you think that Australia exists?
So, but then that's also implying that the Earth was.
Do you think that Australia
exists?
exists?
Also believe. I mean, it's a real place.
Okay,
Again,
have you been there?
So no, but I believe.
Okay, so
that
do you
it's
have
a
100% guaranteed proof that it's real?
No, I mean, I've
Okay,
never
so
been
then
there.
why do you believe that Australia exists if you don't have 100% guaranteed proof?
I mean, because I can physically touch it, but science, can you physically?
You haven't.
Be part.
So you don't know.
Exactly.
So why aren't you equally a fence sitter about the existence of Australia as you are about the age of the Earth?
Because I can physically experience
But
that.
you
I can't
haven't, is the point.
But you could.
Maybe. What if it doesn't exist?
Well, then what I've been told would also be incorrect, which also
and yet
means
you
science
still
would be
believe
incorrect.
that Australia exists.
Right? That would be belief.
Yeah. So I'm asking what you believe.
I'm saying that the billion of years that's what science says is true could also be incorrect. Is
Yeah,
that
and
not also
Australia
true?
could also not exist. That doesn't mean that you don't believe it. You could be a
Okay,
brain in a vat.
I'm not saying
You could have been created yesterday with fake memories. That
that's
doesn't mean
also
that you
correct.
believe it.
But does that also not leave room for saying that is also incorrect? Would you
Look,
also like? Are you saying it's 100% correct that it was billions of years ago?
I never said that.
Oh, that's what I'm asking. I'm not saying that's what you said.
I'm asking what you believe.
I believe that it could be between or either specifically. It could be either
Okay.
or.
Which do you think is a more likely outcome? Which do you think is more likely to be true?
I mean, I have no real specific view on it. I think either could be true. Can you not have an opinion on that agreeing that both is true and both is false?
Well, they both can't be true.
I mean, that's putting a limit on what our perception is and what somebody else's perception is.
No, I mean like Earth either went around the sun 4.5 billion times or so, or it went around the sun, 10,000 times, or it went around the sun 1 million times. It can't have gone around the sun both 10,000 times and 4.5 billion times. It can't be both.
I understand that.
So,
well, then would it be incorrect to have a set? Well, I guess it's not incorrect to have an opinion, but would you disagree that having opinion on both would be like saying that someone does believe 6,000 years? Is that wrong to believe that?
All of the evidence is against them. Yes, it is. I think it is quite irrational to believe that.
But given that evidence is against it, but that's not, again, like we said, we don't know 100%.
King,
because you can't know 100% of anything.
King, if I told you that I don't believe that you exist, that's actually a bad example. Let's say that I don't believe that anybody existed before yesterday. Would you think that that's reasonable for me to believe?
I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you you're wrong because I don't 100% know. Like you said, our knowledge of yesterday could
Is this
be
how you
implanted.
live in the world? You just can't tell anyone. You just can't decide whether anyone is right or wrong because there's a 1 in a trillion chance that they could be right.
I think it's better to.
Have you ever
not
voted,
assume...
King?
I have.
Okay,
but
how
I think
did
that's
you
also
decide who to
difficult.
vote for?
I mean, it's difficult as who you think would be the better candidate.
But how could you know who could be the better candidate?
You don't know. That's the
so
problem.
Then why would you vote?
Cannot know.
If you can't know, why would you vote?
I mean, that's just society. You're taught to vote. I mean,
you don't have
you're
to
not
vote.
American. If
It seems like you
don't have
shouldn't
to
vote if you can't know.
I mean,
or maybe King, do you vote for both people, for both candidates?
I mean, if I could, technically, my vote would mean 0. Then, if I could vote for both.
I don't think this is how you live your life, my guy. I think that you actually do have beliefs, even though you could be wrong about them.
But
King, are you married?
No, I'm in college.
Okay. So King, do you love your parents?
Yes.
Do you think your parents love you?
I think so.
Okay. Do you believe that your parents love you?
In a way, yeah.
Okay, so why do you believe that if you could be wrong?
I mean, that's just the choice of belief. That's what I have. I have faith in that they love me.
That's what I've been asking you. I'm asking you what it is you believe about the age of the Earth.
And I gave you, I don't have enough, I cannot know enough to know the exact answer. I can't pick something specifically because I don't know.
So you don't think that there's enough evidence?
I think that evidence that we have can be different from, say, what God would actually say. Like God's perception could be different from our perception.
That wasn't my question.
Repeat your question.
Do you think that there is not evidence for either side?
I think there's evidence for both sides.
Okay. Can you present me with some of the evidence for the Earth being 6,000 years old? Or thereabouts?
You said the Bible doesn't. Well, I guess I can't for 6 billion.
Why'd you say that there was?
Well, then I retract that statement. I was incorrect.
Okay. Now, do you think you could give me evidence for the Earth being 4.5 billion years old?
I specifically, no, I could not.
Okay, have you heard that there might be evidence for such a claim? I mean, you were presumably here when I was going over it with the last guest, right?
Yeah, I was here.
Okay, so is that evidence?
I mean, I wasn't really following, honestly, to be honest with you.
Okay, so roughly, you can think of it like carbon dating, except better.
Okay.
And so, is that evidence?
I would say yes, that could be evidence, yes.
Okay, so there is evidence for one side, and it sounds like you don't have evidence for the other side. Doesn't that mean that you should probably believe the side with evidence?
I'm not educated enough in that specific side to give you evidence in that.
Well, no, I mean, like, you're familiar with evidence on one side, you're not familiar with evidence on the other side, so it sounds like that you should, if you want it to be reasonable, you'd believe the side that has the evidence that you know about. Now, you could change your view if more evidence was presented to the contrary, but isn't it reasonable to believe the thing that has the most evidence for it?
I guess you could make that assumption in material world, but when it comes to something that I can't really give complete knowledge to, I don't think I can make that assumption.
A guest has violated hate speech rules? What?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, somebody else.
I think it was John.
It was somebody else, and so, but they're not a guest here. It's confusing. Okay, well, anyway, they're gone. Go ahead.
Oh,
it wasn't John. It was Kuho Bodhi. Kuho Bodhi or something.
But like I was saying, I understand what you're saying. There is physical proof to prove that it was billions of years, but I can't discredit if someone brought me 8,000 or 6 that proof that it was made in 6,000 years.
Well, I mean, unless they can present evidence for you, why would you believe them?
I mean, I don't think you can discredit it without evidence. I mean,
no. See, here's the thing: when somebody presents a claim, you should expect that they have evidence. If they don't have evidence, you can just dismiss the claim outright.
But does that automatically make the claim incorrect? Even though there is no evidence?
It's what I said is that it's rational to dismiss the claim outright. You shouldn't believe things without evidence, right?
Again, I'm not saying that it's incorrect, but I don't think you should 100% believe or 100% disagree.
Should you believe things without evidence?
Depends on what it is specifically.
Can you give me an example of something that you should believe without evidence?
Not that I can think of at the moment, no.
Okay. So it sounds like you agree that you should only believe things with evidence. So if somebody presents a claim to you and they don't have evidence, why should you believe them? They don't have evidence.
Because then you're automatically assuming that what they say is incorrect. At least that's what I would
No, you should just
say.
not accept what they say. You could just be like, yeah, I don't have any reason to believe you, so I'm not going to believe you.
But can you not also say, I don't 100% believe what you're saying?
Nobody's talking about 100%.
Understand.
We're talking about evidence.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, you're not presenting me with evidence, but I can understand where you're coming from, and I'm not going to discredit you.
If they don't give you any evidence, then you should. You should say, yeah, come back with evidence or I'm not going to believe you. That's exactly what you should do.
So, I mean, say when they were, for witch trials, take that as an example, they were claiming that they were witches and they were bringing them examples.
Yeah, so in that case, we would say that the evidence, I mean, you can examine the evidence. You can see, is the evidence good? Is the evidence not good? Is it legitimate? Is it not legitimate? Is it fake? Is it real? You can analyze the evidence and critique it all you want. But if somebody's going to come with the claim that somebody is something, you should never just believe them unless they present evidence. And then you can look at what the evidence says. If the evidence is good, then maybe you should believe them. If the evidence is not good, then maybe you should remain agnostic.
Well, then I guess that just comes to differing in opinions, right? I mean, I believe that I'm not gonna say you're 100% wrong, even if you don't come to me with evidence. I'm still gonna.
So it just seems like that's a bad epistemology. It's a bad way of coming to true beliefs.
I guess that is an opinion on that, I guess.
Yep, it's all just opinions all the way down. Thanks for being here, King Calamity. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. I have the stomach rumblies. Oh, I have some super chats to read. Well, no, actually, no, I don't. Never mind. Andrew. Andrew? 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 Oh, Andy left. Yeah, I am hungry. I am hungry. Baby Goku, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing A-okay. Baby Goku, how old do you think the Earth is?
That's a tough question. I am a devout Christian. And first of all, I want to say I'm a huge fan of yours. I check in every morning with you, and you make my morning.
I'm glad. I appreciate the glaze.
Okay, so I've been a Christian most of my life. I've been all around the country. I would say in the 38 years I've been alive, I've been to close to 100 different churches. I've never been told by a pastor that the earth is 6,000 years old. What I've been told is that in the beginning there was the vastness of space and God created the light.
Do you know who Robert Patterson is?
Yes.
Okay. So
and I do believe that,
clearly these people exist.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Robert Patterson. What was his name? It's Pat Robertson. There you go, Pat Robertson.
You brought him up earlier a couple hours ago, and I looked him up. And I do believe that there is such a thing, and John is a good example of this, of radical Christian extremism. And those type of people do not speak for all of us.
I never said that they do.
I know. I never said that you did. I just wanted, but when you kicked John off, you said this is what you have to look forward to with Christianity, is these people that are hate mongers and hate speechers. And
well, those people do exist within Christianity, right?
They do. They absolutely do.
And they could be in your church.
Yes, and they create something. They create something known as religious trauma in people.
Absolutely. So, Baby Goku, look. I understand that the things he said was embarrassing being a Christian. I absolutely understand that. And I appreciate that you want to shove him out of the community, that you want to say he doesn't represent us. Unfortunately, he does represent a lot of Christians. Maybe not the majority, probably not the majority, but he represents a lot of Christians. And so, he's in your community. It's your job to kick him out, right?
Right.
It's your job to be to disavow him. That's on you. Anyway, but that's not the topic of conversation.
Yes. So let's get back to the topic.
How old is the Earth?
So this is what I believe. I think that God first created the light. He created the heavens and the earth. He created the oceans separated from the land. He created the fish that swim in the sea, the microorganisms, the plant life. And then it says in the Bible that he saw that it was good.
Well, then after each day, yeah.
Yes. Then it says that he created man. Now, there could be millions, billions of years in between that. It doesn't really specify. I think that
it does say that it's a day, right?
Okay. Yes. So my question, yes, but in God time, what could that possibly mean?
Well, and I mean, it says it was evening, it was morning, and those are certain, that's referring to it being bright outside and then it being dark outside and then it being bright outside again. So that is true. I mean, at least if you ask biblical scholars, and look, I'm not a biblical scholar, but at least if you ask biblical scholars, they will tell you that the word used is the same word that is used elsewhere in the Bible to refer to literal 24-hour periods. Now, maybe you can interpret it in a way that it's not trying to say that, but it's just that's reading into the text, right? The word is day. It uses the word day in the text.
Yeah. Do you believe that Christianity can evolve over time as we discover new things on this planet?
Absolutely, but you have to recognize that more and more of what the Bible says is just not true about the real world.
Or you could say that more and more of how the Bible was written that long ago, that they didn't know all of these things.
Exactly. So I mean, there are places in the Bible where it can be reasonably interpreted that they thought the earth was flat. The ancient Hebrews, anyway, perhaps not the early Christians, but the ancient Hebrews. Like in Job, for example. And so we know that that's just not the case. And so this just means that like the Bible can't be 100% true, right? Like there are parts where it's like, yeah, the earth is flat, or it doesn't say this exactly, but it says the earth is like the clay under a seal, and the shape of clay under a seal is like a flat circle, right? And we know that that's just not true. So as we advance, as we get better at doing science, if you want to stay Christian, then you have to continue to reinterpret the Bible more and more metaphorically, or more and more in the lens of, oh, this was written by people. This is not infallible. This was these were stories written by people thousands of years ago who could be wrong just as much as they could be right.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point that you bring up. So I used to be an atheist. I really did. I only believed in science and math, and I would constantly disprove my friends that God existed. And it wasn't, and you brought this up just a second ago, it wasn't until I actually had spiritual experiences myself that I started questioning my own beliefs. And I do believe that those books, those stories that were written by people also had those spiritual experiences when Jesus did walk the earth as a man. And when people say that there's very little evidence that Jesus existed, okay, well then did Pontius Pilate exist? Because he's a real Roman emperor that existed in history. I'm losing. Can you hear me? Hey, I can't, Blitz, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I muted myself.
There we go. Okay.
Look, so we're pretty far off topic. It just sounds like you don't think the Earth is 6,000 years old. In which case, this is a topic. This is a conversation for another day.
Okay, before you kick me, I just want to say that I'm a huge fan of yours. I am a Christian.
More power to you.
Yeah. And I also believe in a lot of the things that science says as well. I think that Christianity and science can live together. I think that none of us are really going to know until we're dead, and until then, we're all just guessing. But the things that I have experienced in my life have caused me to believe that there's something out there that's greater than we are. And that keeps me humble, and that keeps me characterized.
Well, thanks for being here, baby Goku. Have a good one.
Thank you, bro.
All right, let's talk to Hey Wet. Hey Wet, how's it going?
What's up? How are you?
I'm doing all right. How old do you think the Earth is?
Well, I would have to estimate probably a few thousand years old if I was to.
And by a few thousand, you mean like more than like 2,000, right?
Yeah, maybe
6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like this.
I don't think it would be 4.5 billion years old, only because, well, I think my main point I would have to say is I don't think you could say definitively that it would be 4.5 billion years old. And one question I have for your methodology is,
when you say definitively, nobody's ever saying anything definitively when we do science, right?
Okay.
We're saying that we have boatloads of evidence that this is the case.
Oh, okay. And the boatloads of evidence being primarily what? Carbon dating?
Uranium lead dating is the method that's used to determine the age of the Earth.
And
we have tons of other methods that are used to show that the Earth is older than, say, 20,000 years old. But uranium lead dating is how we got the number of 4.5 billion.
Right. I think the problem with that is, like, the sample of data. So modern science, what would you consider the age of modern science and recording this data?
So modern science has been around for about 500 years. Uranium lead dating has existed for like 90 years or something like this, maybe 80 years. So
if you compare 500 years to the span of what you would consider the Earth, let's say 4.6 billion. I'm not sure what that percentage is, but it's fractional, right? That range of sample of observable data. So
what does that have to do with the age of the Earth?
Well, absolutely. So, are you familiar with how science measures like an age of a mountain, for example?
My understanding is that there's a lot of different methods that are used, but I'm not a geologist, so I'm sure that if there's a method that you have that you're familiar with that you want to bring up, by all means.
Well, there might be more methodology, but one of the primary methods is they measure how much it grows over X amount of period. So if it grows X amount of centimeters per year, it must be X amount of years.
I don't think that that's true.
Well,
I mean, like, I would imagine that they would use like similar methods to date mountains as they use to date, like, you know, dinosaur fossils or other stones. Because, like, yeah, I mean, as somebody said in the comments, there's like erosion that will affect growth rates. There's, you know, there's like earthquakes that will affect growth rates. So I don't know why they would ever assume that it's that it has a constant growth rate.
Well, that was my understanding, anyways. And so my kind of perspective on that was, well, you know, if obviously we can't put ourselves there and record the data over the lifetime of the mountains. No mountains are forming in our lifetimes, or the 500 years or the 90 years that we've been studying these things. So, you know, I think, you know, if you look at a human, they have exponential growth over the first 18 years, and then they plateau, and then they start shrinking.
Nobody's assuming that mountains grow at a constant rate. By the way, apparently I Googled it. Apparently radiometric dating is actually how they determine the age of mountains.
Radiometric?
Yeah.
So, well, my point might be moot then, but simply putting, you know, if the beginning of a rock or carbon, or, you know, how are these methods basically, how are they proven that they're effective measurements of time?
Yeah, so look, we rely on things like laws of physics. Presumably you think the laws of physics don't change. Otherwise they wouldn't be laws, right? Laws of physics dictate certain phenomena happen. Like, for example, the laws of physics say that if you're on the earth and you drop something, it will always fall, right? If you drop something that has a density that's greater than 1 gram per cubic meter, it will always fall. Do you think that that's a thing that changes over time?
No, not that example, no.
Right, so like laws of physics in general are understood to be laws in that they don't change. These are, in some sense, facts of nature. If you're a Christian, you might think that these are the things, these are the rules that God laid down to explain how the universe works, or to describe how the universe works, or govern how the universe works, whatever the phrase you want. And so things like radiometric dating, uranium-lead dating, for example, these rely on fundamental laws of physics. And so if they are genuinely laws of physics, then we are reasonable to trust that whatever is happening now is the same thing that was happening 100 years ago, is the same thing that was happening 10,000 years ago, same thing that was happening 1 billion years ago. It's the same laws of physics.
Okay.
And, you know, unless you think that the laws of physics are just changing willy-nilly, then yeah, absolutely, we have good reason to think that things like radiometric dating are effective means to determining how old something is.
Well, laws of physics could, you know, are ultimately theories, right? And
no, they're laws, right?
Well, okay, well that's up for debate, but
what's up for debate?
Newton's
universal law of gravitation? That's not up for debate.
That's a
radioactive decay laws? Those aren't up for debate.
Yeah, gravity, for example, it's a theory. It's
also a law. It's also a phenomenon.
That's the point. It's a phenomenon. So we observe the effect of gravity.
It's all three things. It's a phenomenon, it's a law, and it's a theory.
What gravity is.
That seems irrelevant. We don't need to know what it is in order to know how it behaves, right?
Right.
And by the way, something being a theory doesn't make it not true. It doesn't make it doesn't make it false. It doesn't make it uncertain, right?
It also doesn't make it absolute, though.
Look, so we have good reason, we have evidence, if you will, that the way that we understand the world is accurate, right? That when you drop something, it will fall. That if you have You know, if you have a lump of uranium, it will decay at a certain rate. We can just test this in the world, right?
Okay.
And that's what we're relying on. We're relying on that fact being true, that a lump of uranium will always decay at the same rate. That's all radiometric dating is relying on.
All right. Would you mind if I ask? And I'm speculating here. Would you subscribe to the Big Bang Theory? I think we lost your audio. Did you mute?
Oh, I'm sorry. What do you mean by the Big Bang? Do you mean like the universe began from two atoms colliding or something, or how do you understand the Big Bang?
Correct. Or that's how I understand it. And this isn't a gotcha moment or anything, but how would if one side of the argument is the creationist theory, which I'm assuming you reject, what would be your perspective, just in short, in summary of
that the universe is at least 13.8 billion years old. The universe is at least 13.8 billion years old.
Billion.
I don't know if it's older than that. I don't know. I don't know if it is older than that. What came before that? I don't know.
And how old would you suggest that the Earth would be? The 4.6
about 4.5 billion.
And is it okay to assume that you're saying that the Earth came into form from what did it grow from something small into something large?
The Earth formed gravitationally, large? So like gravity, we agreed that gravity is real, and so like two small things can attract each other and merge and become one big thing.
Right.
Roughly how planets form.
From there.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're considering the point at which those first two molecules joined, that was carbon date 0, and it was the size of an atom, and it snowballed.
So the way that we get that age of how long ago the Earth formed, the 4.5 billion. So it's like 4.54 or something like this. So there was like a 10 to 50 million year period where the early solar system was pretty chaotic. So the way that we determine that 4.54 billion years old is how long ago the solar system formed. And we understand that the planets formed basically around that time, but it was pretty chaotic. There were things crashing into each other. And so it could have been 4.54 minus 10 million or 4.54 billion minus 10 million or something like this. That we don't have information on. But we do have information on when the solar system formed, because we have very, very small rocks from space that are that old. And so those would have formed much earlier than the Earth, because it takes less time to form small rocks than it does to form big planets.
Okay. So, in contrast to creationism, which would say the Earth was created in a day, on your theory, just generally speaking, the Earth, as maybe not as we know it today, but the Earth until are we talking it was created over millions of years?
So
billions of years? Was it instantaneous?
This is on the order of tens of thousands to millions of years.
Tens of thousands to millions.
So like it depends on when you consider it like formed, right? Because like you could have like a little tiny like rock that is like where Earth will be eventually. Does that count as the Earth, or is it like, does it need to be like the size of the Earth to count as the Earth? Like it's because it's a gradual process. There's no like clear dividing line where you put when the Earth formed, like exactly when, right? Mm-hmm. That's why there's 50 million years worth of wiggle room on either side.
Right. But you like, I guess if you can imagine it, like the growth of a baby, you start from a sperm and you balloon up and in full term birth, teenager, and then adult. Any idea what lifespan of the Earth we would be in today?
The Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Like Are you asking like how long until Earth stops existing?
Yeah,
Or,
are we burning out?
I mean, like, you know,
Yeah,
there's probably good reason to think that life might not be viable on Earth in another billion years because the sun's going to get hotter. Earth probably will be engulfed by the sun in about 5 billion years.
Okay.
But like,
well,
but look, we have lots of evidence for all of these claims. What's the evidence for the Earth being like, you know, half a dozen thousand years old?
Right. I would suspect only that's just my estimation. I think to the previous caller's note, I think the opinion is possibly there's just a lack of suggestion to think that we would possibly even
You cut out there for a second. Can you repeat
years,
that?
That's really and what I was saying is, you know, even talking about a billion years is incomprehensible. It's hard to even imagine that number in terms of money. It's a really hard thing to understand, and I think ultimately it takes a big step of faith for me to, you know, take a scientific system like carbon dating and be able to apply
dating, not carbon
something like radiometric dating and apply millions or billions of years. It's just really hard to.
It just sounds like incredulity.
Right.
Like it just sounds like you're saying like it just sounds like you're saying that, oh, it's unbelievable to you, so like, you know, that means that it's like not likely to be true. Like, look, the scientific process is like pretty robust. You use the fruits of the scientific process all the time in daily life. Why is this the one thing that you can't trust the scientific process for, but you can trust it all those other times?
I might not be someone who would say that I do trust it in many other situations.
No, but you use the fruits of it, right? Like you trust that your Wi-Fi will work. You're talking on it right now, right? Or your data, your 4G, whatever. That all comes from like the Maxwell's theory of electromagnetism. That's from like the 1880s.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of that stuff is founded in like the scientific process. And like when you go to get an MRI, that was based on science that was developed in the 50s or 60s. When you go to get a PET scan, that's based off of the existence of antimatter. Like all of this stuff, like we rely on this in our, you know, day-to-day life. Like all of the electronics that you have, all of the material science that we have for why our concrete is so good now, and all of this stuff. This is science, right? Why is all of that stuff reliable? But for this one thing, it's not.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from on that, and to close, because I'll let you get to some other guests. I think where I was going to, in this conversation, and I was trying to understand your concept of the I would consider the birth of the Earth. Is where I was going with this is, you know, would it be possible that the Earth was created or formed with inherent age already? It's kind of like the chicken before the egg argument,
so,
you know.
Yes, if you believe that your god is Loki.
No, I'm not talking from a creationist standpoint. I'm talking from a I'm a little unfamiliar with your stance, is why I was asking, you know.
So it's possible that Loki, the god of deception, created the Earth 6,000 years ago, but placed fake evidence in place to make us think that it's 4.5 billion years old.
Right, and
that's
possible, part of my theory and why part of my theory and why I brought up the, you know, measuring the height of a mountain versus the height of humans over their lifespan. You know, if the Earth Earth formed rather rapidly, you know, is some of that dating, what was any of that data accelerated at any point? Or
the rate at which Earth forms has nothing to do with the rate of radioactive decay.
Okay, well that's interesting. I might ultimately have to look into that a little bit more. And what do you call it?
It's called, you can look up uranium lead dating.
Uranium lead dating.
Yep.
Well, it'll be interesting. I'll have to educate myself on that. But
yeah, go for it.
Anyway, thank you for sharing that perspective. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for being here, Haywood. right. Let us read some super chats and we'll move on to our next guest. So we have $2 from Bilbo Baggins. Is possible the universe began to exist and finite? Yeah, sure. And from Misty with the $2. Thank you so much, Misty. Please discuss omnism. Could you be omnoath? I don't know what that means. Oh, do you mean can I be an omnist rather than an atheist? I don't know what omnism is. All right, let's bring up our next guest. Nature versus AI. Nature versus AI, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How old do you think the Earth is, Nature?
I don't know.
Okay. So, do you think that the Earth isn't 6,000 years old?
I don't believe in space.
That didn't answer my question. It's like a crazy thing to say, but it didn't answer my question.
I don't know how old the Earth is. No, I don't.
Okay, so you don't think it's 6,000 years old?
I don't know.
Well, so you either think it's 6,000 years old or you don't think it's 6,000 years old, right?
I don't have an opinion.
Okay.
I don't know because
right, you don't have an opinion, so you don't think that the Earth is 6,000 years old. I'm glad we agree.
I can believe like you believe. Right?
I'm using think and believe in like a similar way. Like you have an opinion about a particular thing, or you don't have an opinion about that thing.
Two opposite words. They have two different.
He really wanted to come up during the Flat Earth days, but nope, not today. All right, we have somebody named Yo coming up. Also, somebody named Colby has been wanting to come up, but they're not in the guest box. All right, let's talk to Amreen. Amreen, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, man? Yo,
how old do you think the Earth is, Amreen?
Well, I was here last time, and for your daily glaze, I'm gonna do it again. I love you, bro.
Get out of here, Amreen. Go on, get. I appreciate it, though. You're appreciated.
Yo.
Colby, how old do you think the Earth is?
I'm not sure, but I would be willing to...
Why'd you want to come up?
Because I don't believe in the way that you date it either.
Okay,
it's been
why?
proven inaccurate.
Okay, which part has been proven inaccurate?
The I forget what it's called, the radio, when they use like radiation to date the existence of the universe.
Well, no, they're not using that to date the existence of the universe. They're using it to figure out how old the Earth is.
Right, that's what I meant. I apologize. The length of the time span.
Uh-huh.
Neil deGrasse Tyson actually denies that is accurate.
I don't care. He's not a working scientist.
So
he's also not an authority on this.
I understand. How many working scientists agree that this is 100% factual consensus? This is the way.
Well, it is consensus. I don't know what you mean by 100% factual. Like, well, facts are either true or false. We can have a degree of confidence in certain facts, or a lesser degree of confidence.
Okay, I'm on par with you there. So my issue is that, do you know it for certain?
I don't think anybody knows anything for certain.
Okay. All right, then I don't disagree with you. We're okay then.
But like, you can believe things without knowing things for certain, right?
100%, absolutely.
Okay.
I believe.
So like, do you think that with 99.99% certainty, the Earth is older than 1 billion years old?
No.
Okay, why not?
I just don't believe there's enough evidence for it. The amount of carbon dating on the Earth itself.
Not using carbon dating.
So how are you dating the Earth?
It's radiometric dating, uranium lead dating in particular.
Which. All right, so let's go. Because I'm not extremely familiar with it. I'm more familiar with the carbon dating fossil records, which are extremely wildly inaccurate and don't.
Yeah, so I'm surprised that Because it sounds like you probably, I mean, actually tell me, what are the issues with carbon dating?
So in the areas where there's carbon-rich soil that shouldn't be, and they're saying, oh, well, you know, this is new firmament or new sediment on top of old sediment, and it's losing its carbon over time. But the dinosaurs' fossils all contain carbon. They're millions of years old. That doesn't add up.
So it sounds like you've looked a lot into carbon dating. Why haven't you looked at all into uranium lead dating? You're interested in knowing the truth, right?
Yes.
Okay, so why haven't you? Why don't you know anything about uranium lead dating, which is how we actually figure out how old the Earth is?
I haven't been led there until recently.
Okay,
and I was.
But you were led to all of the fact. Actually, can you tell me how carbon dating works?
Something about we all contain, everything on Earth contains carbon, and the older in the sediment you go, the more the carbon has dissipated, and it gives you an idea of how long a period of time has gone by on that level of sediment.
It doesn't sound like you know what carbon dating is either.
Really?
Yeah. So carbon dating relies on a particular carbon isotope called carbon-14, which is essentially constant in the atmosphere. Like, it changes a little bit over time, but there's a certain amount of carbon-14 in the atmosphere as a fraction of the total amount of carbon in the atmosphere in the form of CO2 or whatever it might be. And when you're alive, you're constantly replenishing your carbon-14, but that carbon-14 does decay over time. It decays to nitrogen. Now, regular carbon doesn't decay. Carbon-14 does. It's a specific type of carbon. And so throughout your life, you are replenishing the carbon-14 as the carbon-14 decays within you, because you're getting new carbon-14 from the atmosphere, from your food, et cetera, all the time. Once you die, you stop getting that. And so by figuring out how much carbon-14 you have in your, I don't know, your bones or something like this, or your flesh or whatever it is, that will tell you roughly how long it's been since you died, because you haven't been replenishing it, so that carbon has just been decaying away. But
I might have said it in a way that you didn't. But yeah, exactly what you just said. That's
right.
That
It is exactly what I just said. You were saying that the carbon was dissipating, which it isn't. It's just turning into nitrogen, and it's not all the carbon.
Okay, but if you're receiving only the carbon, it is dissipating.
No, but it's not, because you still, like, dinosaur bones should have carbon in them. Actually, I don't think that they're supposed to have carbon, but dinosaur fossils should have carbon in them, because carbon-12 does not decay. Right.
Understandable, but they shouldn't have carbon-14.
Okay, so maybe that's the case. We can check that. We could check that count, or we can check that claim if you want. But the point is it seems like you haven't looked into the actual science here you haven't looked into the actual science here. It sounds like you've looked into the debunking of the science, which just makes me think that you're not actually interested in knowing what's true. You're interested in knowing what confirms your biases.
Not at all. I've had an understanding of what carbon dated was for some time, until I was presented with the fact that it also is inaccurate.
Okay, so on what grounds do you have for determining that it's inaccurate?
The fact that the dinosaur bones are supposedly millions of years old, but they still contain carbon-14. That's impossible based off of carbon dating.
Well, no. I mean, the point is that, well, there's two things. One, that doesn't say that carbon dating is inaccurate. What it might say is that the age of things that we thought were millions of years old using other mechanisms might be inaccurate, and carbon-14 or carbon dating is actually totally fine, right? That could be the case. It doesn't mean that carbon dating is inaccurate.
If the amount of perceived time is different, that makes it inaccurate.
No, my point is it could be that carbon dating is perfectly fine and dinosaurs are only 10,000 years old, right? That's possible. That wouldn't make carbon dating inaccurate.
No, but that would make dinosaurs 10,000 years.
Right, but it wouldn't make carbon dating inaccurate. So we agree that even if it were true that you found carbon-14 in dinosaurs, that wouldn't make carbon dating inaccurate, right?
I agree.
In order for carbon dating to be inaccurate, you would have to first agree that dinosaurs are millions of years old, and then find carbon in the dinosaurs. Carbon-14, right? You can't have it both ways.
Do you determine that dinosaurs walk the earth with people?
Look, so you can either accept carbon dating or accept that, rather, the presence of C14 in dinosaur fossils, which, by the way, I'm not finding any evidence of this, any evidence of like in dinosaur bones and stuff. But supposing that that's true, the existence of C14 in dinosaur bones only invalidates carbon dating if dinosaurs are actually millions of years old.
So from
if dinosaurs are not actually millions of years old, then the presence of C14 in dinosaur bones does not invalidate C14 or carbon 14 dating.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
So why did you say that carbon dating is unreliable?
Because upright walking people are carbon dated back to 100,000 plus
No, they're
years
not.
ago. Oh.
Cite your source, please.
Okay. All right. So you don't. What's the oldest record of a human being?
Humans go back around 250 to 300,000 years of the Homo sapien species.
Well, let's say Homo sapien, our species.
Yeah, it's about 250 to 300,000 years ago.
But you're saying dinosaurs walked the earth 10,000 years ago.
Not saying that. I'm saying that if you believe that dinosaurs did walk the earth 10,000 years ago, then that would mean that carbon dating is totally fine.
Right. So if I believe that the dinosaurs walked the earth 10,000 years ago, carbon dating
is correct. And that means that the claim that you made that carbon dating is inaccurate is false.
But however,
you can't have it both ways.
You're having it both ways.
I'm criticizing your view.
Right, but you're also under the perception that if I believe the dinosaurs existed 10,000 years ago, carbon dating is accurate, and we can prove people have been on this earth for 250,000 years ago.
No, you would presumably not think that you could do that, right?
Right, so then the two scientific theories would disprove one another.
You don't use carbon dating to figure out that humans were around 250,000 years ago.
What's the oldest record of a carbon dating?
Carbon dating only goes back 50,000 years or so.
So what's the oldest record on a human being?
For carbon dating? I don't know. I can look that up for you, though, if you want.
But if they both coincide, then you can put dinosaurs and people on Earth together at the same time.
So the oldest securely dated individual is around 50,000 years old.
That puts dinosaurs and people walking the Earth together simultaneously.
Yeah, and if you believe that carbon dating, if you believe that there's C14 in dinosaur fossils, which, by the way, there isn't, but if you believe that there is, then that would mean that the carbon dating is correct, that there's no inaccuracies in carbon dating, right?
Yeah, I can attest to that. But
okay, so you agree that the statement you made, carbon dating is inaccurate because they found carbon 14 in dinosaurs, is false.
No, because then you eliminate all context, which is needed for theories to exist. You have to have variables.
So look, you can say carbon 14 dating is false if dinosaurs are older than 50,000 years. But if dinosaurs are not older than 50,000 years, then carbon 14 dating isn't false.
Okay, that I completely agree with that statement.
Okay, so now all we have to do is so we agree that carbon 14 dating isn't necessarily false. Now, on what grounds do you think that other means of dating, like uranium lead dating, are false?
I don't have my own perspective on it. It's just what I've heard.
Okay,
that's what this is for is not necessarily to go, oh, you're wrong. I'm trying to learn.
Okay, well, so there's something called uranium lead dating, which is the means by which we determine things like the age of the Earth, things like the age of mountains, for example. Things like the age of very, very old things. Uranium lead dating is a mechanism that is far more reliable than carbon dating. Carbon dating can have leaching. Essentially, if you have a porous material, then stuff from the environment can leach in, and stuff from the environment or stuff from the inside can leach out. So carbon 14, there are situations where it's less reliable than other situations, but uranium lead dating is far, far, far more reliable because it basically happens in crystals, and crystals famously are not very porous. And so fortunately, we can use this to date crystals that we just find on the ground. In fact, there was one that was found in Australia like a few years ago, I think, that dated to like 4.3 billion years.
I don't know, man. I still struggle with scientific theories. Contradict just as bad as biblical theories do.
Can you point to me a contradiction in the uranium lead dating?
No, but I can point to science. If carbon dating is accurate, science saying that dinosaurs existed millions of years ago doesn't make sense.
Here's the lovely thing. So the people who actually do carbon dating, like paleontologists will do this. They actually understand the limitations of the methods that they use. So for example, if you have soft tissue that is buried underwater for thousands of years, they will understand that carbon dating will not be a reliable mechanism to figure out how old that thing is, because you'll have stuff like leaching happening. Basically, you'll have stuff going in, stuff going out, and you can lose a lot of good data. So the people who actually perform these analyses know the limitations of the mechanisms. So they're not going to be using the carbon dating when they know that the carbon dating will not be reliable.
So back to your original question, because you're right. I don't know enough of the facts about the science to actually say, no, that's inaccurate. But the Earth being 6,000 years old, where is it proclaimed in the Bible that we're only 6,000 years old?
I never said that it was.
Okay. So
there are churches that do say that.
I can agree with
you. There
you
are pastors who do say that. And you think that it's not that old. So
not necessarily.
Didn't you come in and say that? Isn't that what you said when you first got here?
No, I questioned your belief on it.
Hold on. I have to redo the playback.
Go ahead. I said I didn't believe that it was as old as it's proclaimed to be.
Here we go.
Right.
Hold on. Rewind, please. I hate that it does this.
I didn't proclaim I believe it to be 6,000 years old.
Right. That's not you. Okay, yeah. So you're right. You didn't say that that you believe it was 6,000 years old. You just said that you don't believe that it's 4.5 billion years old.
Absolutely.
Okay. Despite the evidence, right?
So the evidence is not empirical. It's not definitive.
It is. It's absolutely empirical. It's like hard numbers made from measurements of the natural world. That's what empirics are.
But our hard numbers change so consistently on a day-to-day basis with newfound information.
So the age of the Earth hasn't changed in like 70 years. 65 or so.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you believe in anything in the Bible?
I mean, like there are people who existed who were mentioned in the Bible. Like Egypt has existed, or Egypt exists, and that was mentioned in the Bible. Do I believe that like the events of the Bible literally took place? Many of them, I suspect not.
Huh. But as suspect, you do not definitively deny them either.
I mean, look, so generally if we're going, like, for example, if it were true that 2.5 million Hebrews wandered the desert for 40 years, one would expect that there would be archaeological evidence of this. You know, people die, you would expect to see burials, you would expect to see, you know, the remnants of like tents and things like this. You know, 2.5 million people is a lot of people to be wandering around the desert for 40 years. And so the fact that, as far as I know, there's no evidence that this happened, that makes it very, very unlikely that there were ever that large quantity of Hebrews wandering around the desert after the Exodus. Similarly, I don't think that there's really any good reason to believe that, like, for example, Jesus multiplied loaves. Like, we don't have any evidence that ever happened. We just have the story of, you know, a few people. And so, you know, did that actually happen? Probably not. We don't have any reason to think so. And, you know, this is a miraculous claim. So given the claim is made, I would suspect that, you know, you need to provide some strong evidence for it.
Okay. All right, so I can agree to disagree with your perspective, but
my perspective being that we should believe things that have evidence.
No. Your perspective on religion in general. I actually like the way you approach things. I'm not trying to put you down or make you little in any way, shape, or form. I actually find you intelligent, and I like this discourse we're having. I'm just curious.
If you're curious, you should go read about the science that was done to figure out the age of the Earth.
Well, yeah, but having debate is an awesome way to open your mind to things as well.
I agree, but make sure to do the reading afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Colby, I'm going to let you go, but thank you so much for being here.
Sure.
Take care. All right, y'all. So it is 11:52. I'm going to, well, I don't know. Maybe we won't on the live. All right, so we have a few super chats to read. So from Misty, omnists believe parts of multiple religions are true. Oh, well, but I don't think that, like, parts of most religions are, I don't think that most of them are true. In fact, I don't know of any of them that I think are true. Michael of Chicago, thank you for the $5. Is your position that young earth creationism is a required Christian belief? It's a fringe American belief coming from Seventh-day Adventists. No, that's not my position. There are lots of Christians who don't believe that. However, you can't be a biblical literalist and believe that, that's not the case. Because you can just add things up in the Bible and then come to that conclusion, right? H.R. Christopher, thank you for the $5. If God existed, why is he only evil? He gives kids cancer, he makes wars. So why is God real if he is only evil? That's a good question. It's called the problem of evil. Miko Makapo, thank you for the £5. I don't know about carbon dating or the radium lead, it's uranium. So uranium, the stuff that, like, makes bombs. Uranium lead. But if I, a janitor, find a problem with it, the scientists have thought about it too. That's exactly the issue, right? Like, scientists aren't dumb people. Scientists are, on average, smarter than the general population. Like, I mean, not to say that, like, you can't be a scientist if you're not smart. Like, you get smart by doing the training to become a scientist. Like, generally speaking, scientists are, like, that's like their whole job. Their whole job is to be smart, right? So this is to say they probably thought of these things. Christopher sends $2, $2 of some kind. You can't talk sense to an idiot. Look, you can talk sense to people who have been indoctrinated. I don't think that I may have talked to one idiot today, and he was like the Nazi, but besides him, Tim Davidson, thank you for the $5. Caller, there's nothing you know about dating methods that the people using the methods don't know. Yeah, that's the issue, right? Like, the issue is that people think that, like, oh, if you find carbon in this, that means that that carbon dating can't work. No, it just means that carbon dating is not appropriate to use on such a thing. But carbon dating can be appropriate to use in other cases. Jack Fetter with the $5 sends, is it true we can no longer trust carbon dating after 1950 due to nuclear testing and the contamination created with accurately carbon-14 dating? I don't think that's true. What is the case is, you're talking about carbon dating things that died after 1950. I don't know. I could look into that. I don't think that it would be a problem. You just have to account for that. Amisley with the $5. Thank you so much. And Master Sergeant Razor with the $10. Thank you, Master Sergeant. Oh, that's Brazilian real. Okay. This is like the situation of a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square. Theology permits aged creation, which would be appear as aged, like the universe is, while also being young. No, theology does not permit aged creation, at least not Christian theology. Aged creation implies deception. And if you have deception, then that's not the Christian God, right? The Christian God does not deceive. I believe that there is a verse about that. Let me pull up the verse. Or maybe there's not a verse about it. In fact, maybe the Christian God can deceive, but then that just means that he would be evil. He would be deceptive, right? Hebrews 16:18, maybe 6:18, maybe. Yeah, let's look at Hebrews 6:18. Let's see if I can find this one. God did this so that by two unchangeable things in which it is impossible for God to lie, we who have fled to take hold of the hope set before us may be greatly encouraged. So, I mean, look, I mean, if you are a Christian, you think that God can lie to us, then maybe that's one thing, but I just don't think that that's probably not consistent with Christianity. Anyway, a few more super chats. Amisley with the $5, thank you. Science is discovering the mechanisms of God's design. We keep digging and finding more perfection and more proof of design. It's not binary. Look, you can think that God designed the universe, but you can't think that the Earth is 6,000 years old, unless you want to be a science denier and or think that God is deceptive. Master Sergeant Razor responding, saying, it's not deception, it's to permit free will. One reason to think the universe is old, another to think it is young. It's not permitting free will when you plant false evidence. That's not what permitting free will is. Right. Michael of Chicago sending $5. Thank you so much. Again, young Earth creation is not Christian doctrine. It's a fringe American belief. I agree. If you want to take a biblical literalist perspective, then you might have to be a young Earth creationist. But that's not Christian doctrine either. Christopher sends $2, 2 Brazilian reals rather. Why is God evil? Please tell me, believers. That's a good question. All right, let me check to make sure that I don't have any missing super chats or anything. We have, that's an ad. It's an ad. Double checking my phone. All right, I think that is everything. So y'all, I am gonna end the live here. It is that time of day. I have to go make myself some coffee. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Before I go, make sure to join the Discord. It's discord.gg/Dr. Blitz. We got a new Discord link, a customized Discord link, so it's really cool. Also, if you want access to my live stream debate notes, which I use during live stream debates, you should consider becoming a member on YouTube. Let me show you what they look like. If you are a member on YouTube, you get access to these. Let me show you on TikTok as well. You get access to these, which just has a whole bunch of resources, a whole bunch of evidence, papers, arguments about a whole bunch of different topics. So consider it. It's a cool way to get access. It's a cool way to support me. It's like $4 or $5 a month. So consider that. Join the Discord if you're 18 plus. Thank you to my entire mod team, including my wonderful admin